And welcome into Half the Distance Live, your weekly barroom football commentary podcast. As always, I am Matty Fax, joined by Scotty Staten, aka Scotty Stats, and Brian the Professor. And when the parents are away, or whatever you want to say, we have no producers tonight. Right back to the old school style of doing things. No one to be in our ear telling us we got to slow down or speed up.
So we're doing the shirtless?
I guess so.
My pants are already off, so just
like,
checking. So.
I mean, there's no Skunk Hunter, there's no Upgreg to keep us in check, so that's y'all's fault.
There's our rules.
Yep, and y'all are gonna like it. It's a fun show. Normally I would do a long little soliloquy, if you will, about the awfulness of sports commentators, but today, gonna kick over to Mr. Stats.
Yeah.
And let him do an intro because he brought something to our attention that is absolutely worth noting.
Yeah, we literally built this on the platform that the that the announcers are trash.
Pure garbage.
Joe Buck, we will always toast to you.
Just the worst.
Just the worst. Fuck you, Joe Buck.
Fuck you, Joe Buck.
And there are some great ones. Erin Andrews, she's incredible.
We're in the booth.
As great as she is on the field, I wish she was up in the booth. She's fantastic. But the football world lost probably one of the best associate announcers out there. If you follow college football, Kirk Herbstreit just lost his dog. Ben Herbstreit was on the road with him at all these college game days. I warn you, there's plenty of touching videos about Ben. He just was on the road. All the players loved him. All the fans loved him. A dog like that is wonderful. And so there's one announcer that we are going to toast to, and that is R.I.P. Ben Herbstreit.
Ben Herbstreit. All right.
There, shit. All right.
So,
Get a little misty.
hey, listen.
Yeah.
Dog's a great animal.
He was elected the chief happiness officer.
Exactly.
Chief
a hard one to
happiness
overcome.
officer of the bowl game. That's a hard one to overcome right there. Speaking of hard to overcome, the Bengals keep on putting up a ton of points against the Ravens and just cannot do it. This week they lost 35-34. Joe Burrow had a Madden game, 428 yards passing and 4 touchdowns. Chase Brown had 42 rushing yards and a touchdown to go with 9 catches and 52 yards. Jamar Chase had 11 catches for 264 yards and 3 touchdowns.
The most fantasy points in recorded fantasy history, by
Is
the
it
way.
really?
Yeah.
I played a team that had both Burrow and Chase, and I messaged the guy and said, I guess there's no stress when I knew the game was over on Thursday night. And I was right. Oh, my God, he's whooping my ass at that game. For the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, 290 yards passing and 4 touchdowns to go along with 7 rushes for 33 yards. Derrick Henry, 68 yards rushing and a touchdown.
68 carries. What the fuck?
35 points and 4 touchdown passes. Must have been to a lot of guys that are great, right? Like Zay Flowers or... No. Well, Mark Andrews had 6 catches for 68 yards and a touchdown. Tylan Wallace.
Yeah.
No, I'd never heard of him before that night.
You know,
3
Tyler
catches.
Wallace from Southeast
from that
San
college.
Diego University State.
That heavy set
Bill.
thin guy.
The heavy set guy.
Yeah. He had 3 catches for 115 yards. You know Sergio. And 1 touchdown. Rashad Bateman came out of retirement.
Right?
6 for 54 and a touchdown. And I just had to say this name because I was like, he's still alive? Nelson Aguilar.
Right.
1 catch, 6 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Tylan Wallace is missing 2 fingers on his left hand.
What?
Oh.
No, he's not.
What?
Oh.
Nobody knows the fuck he is, so it's believable.
Yeah.
I found this today, and it's amazing. In 2 games this year versus the Ravens, Joe Burrow has 820 yards passing, 9 touchdowns, a 121 rating. Jamar Chase has 21 catches, 457 yards, and 5 touchdowns.
Oh my God.
And they're
Both in
0-2.
losses. Oh,
God.
man.
That is just brutal on a level that I don't think is truly fair.
All right. So I don't remember who I picked. I want to say that I picked the Ravens. Only because the Ravens have been tried and true, and while the Bengals have they do the same thing they have for the past 4 years, where they're dog shit in the beginning and they clean it up, but their offense is good, but their offense was insane on Thursday. The Ravens are getting better, which is not fair because they started out their loss was the first loss of the season was the Chiefs, and that was a one tippy toe away from being a win. They are getting better as we go on. I thought their defense was going to be better for sure. But I also thought that the Bengals defense wasn't that good. Like, to me, when you add up those numerator denominators, like, this should still be far and away a Ravens win. Holy shit. Like, what a game that was. Fucking great. I also have Jamar Chase on my fantasy team, which
Good
is
for you. Good for
nice.
you. To me, I think the Ravens defense, John Harbaugh is a good enough coach. I know he was a special teams coach, but he always, before he was a head coach, he was a special teams coach.
Yeah.
He always has that defense starting to hum by the end of the season, regardless of the situation. Mm-hmm. And I think I've got some injuries at the corners right now. If they can get some guys back healthy, if they can, because the loss of Patrick Queen to the Steelers hurts, but they still have Roquan Smith in the middle. They have players on that defense. The scary thing to me is I think you're absolutely right. I think the offense is just now starting to go. And by the way, this was with Deontay Johnson playing 6 snaps. So once he gets into the offense too, pick your poison. You're either going to have to stack the box to stop Derrick Henry, or you're going to open it up for Lamar Jackson to just distribute all across the field, which is exactly what he did tonight. Andrews, 6 catches. Bateman, 6 catches. This Wallace guy, 3 catches. Zay Flowers was the only one that really didn't do anything. It's because they didn't need him to.
Oh, yeah. Zay Flowers was the fucking bait.
Yeah.
Like, just go run out there and draw defenders, and then everyone's open. Because Zay Flowers has been a bucket.
Yes, he's been awesome this year.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this team, I think they're just scratching the surface of what they could potentially be. Like, this truly feels like the at least at this point in the season, it's either them or the Bills to be the Chiefs' big opposition in the playoffs.
I think today, I don't see how the Chiefs beat either team today. I don't see how I think the Chiefs and the Bills are a lot more fun match. I don't see how the Chiefs beat Baltimore.
No, because I think Baltimore could put up so many points.
Yeah.
But who knows? By the end of the season, DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the Chiefs later on.
Fair. Yeah.
But I mean, the Ravens also lost to the Chiefs, but the Browns and I think the Raiders.
No, they've only lost the one.
They've only lost 2.
Yeah, they lost to the Browns. That was no doubt that was an overlook. That was an overlook.
Which I'm sure happens,
Oh
but...
yeah.
Yeah, it does happen. It sucks it happened against
Raiders,
against the Raiders, one of the worst teams in the league.
Browns.
Okay, all right.
But, that is why they play the games, as I say. I know it's trite to say, but it happens. So, you know what? Sucks for the Bengals. Any other team, or any other team they played this in the league this weekend, they probably would have beaten. Just going up against one of those a little stronger on Thursday night.
If they can keep doing it against other teams that aren't quite as good.
Yeah, the problem is now they're like 4-5 or 4-6. They are really behind the 8 ball when it comes to getting some wins and getting into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Germany got to watch the Giants take on the Panthers this morning. This was actually a pretty fun game to watch. The Giants did lose 20-17. Daniel Jones, 190 yards passing, 2 interceptions. Tyrone Tracy, 103 yards and a touchdown. Had 2 fumbles, and one was very costly. Wan'Dale Robinson, 5 catches for 51. Malik Neighbors, 6 for 50. Hyatt, 4 for 39. And Brian Burns had a great game on defense. 9 tackles, 4 solo, and a sack. For the Panthers, Bryce Young, 126 yards passing and a touchdown. Chuba Hubbard had a game. 153 yards rushing and a touchdown. Holy Cross's favorite wide receiver, Coker, 3 for 41. Xavier Legette, 3 catches for 40 yards. And Ashawn Robinson, defensive end for the Panthers, also had a very good game. 7 tackles, 5 solo, and a sack. The Tyrone Tracy fumble was in overtime on the very first play of overtime for the Giants after the kickoff. The defense held strong to make sure they didn't get to advance the ball any, but it was just a chip shot field goal at that point. And I felt awful for Tyrone Tracy. You could just see him on the sideline in emotional agony. And he's been doing great. And he was having a really solid game for them too.
He's coming alive. I really love it. So there was something we talked about for the show, and that was about the emotional variability of losing a game. And we're about to run through our team's losses. So we're talking about the Giants, and I don't want to forget one of the things that we do. We hand out koozies for us to use. If your team wins, you get to use your team's koozie. If your team loses, you have to support your least favorite team. So the Giants lost. So therefore, I've got to display a fucking Patriots koozie for the rest of the show.
Well, that's just mean for Matt.
But when we talk about like the emotional differences in a loss, the Giants were 2-7 going into this game today. The Panthers were 2-7 going into this game today. And it's easy for me to say I think the Giants were the better team, but I think that we all agreed the Giants were a better team.
Yep.
Maybe someone picked the Panthers to be a shithead. I don't know. But listen, when we're making our picks, sometimes we pick so we're not like all the same. I don't know. Did anyone pick?
Eric did, but it was only so if he was right, he would get that one extra win because he's so far behind all of us.
Fair enough.
So it wasn't because he honestly thought
Right.
they would win.
So we all felt like the Giants were the better team. So for me, losing to the Panthers is a shock to the system, a little embarrassing, but mostly disappointing. That's the biggest thing that I felt right now because I thought we were better than the Panthers,
Yep.
and we're not.
I mean, I think with a shaky defense, no shitty defense is better than Chuba Hubbard.
But I thought
And that's the difference.
I
maker
thought
for
we had a
them,
better
you know?
defense than that. But yeah, fucking Hubbard
Who
was
just got signed to a contract extension, by the way.
And then-
I'd like to point out, real fast, this is a little bit of something that's been going on here. David Montgomery got a little contract extension this season, too. Notice the teams that are doing well actually put money into their running backs. Like, I don't know, the Ravens. The Texans picking up Joe Mixon.
weird.
The Lions, Montgomery, they put a 10th pick or 12th pick into Jahmyr Gibbs last year. The Cowboys, they have Ezekiel Elliott, who's on no tread on his tires. Dalvin Cook, who is on the rims at this point.
Yeah.
And Rico Dowdle, who, God bless him, he's in tires, but they're like the big beach ones.
hold
They're
on.
meant for sand, and he's on grass.
Rico Dowdle's looking better
He's
as the year
playing
goes
hard.
on.
He's giving everything he's got.
Yeah,
he
yeah,
really
yeah,
is.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm sorry for that little aside. It's
So,
just
yes.
like I like to. The running backs they're never going to have the contracts of wide receivers. They're going to start making some money again though, because teams are seeing this path is not good.
Yep.
Yep. So yes, a bummer for the Giants. I will now have to support again Patriots for the rest of the show, but also mostly I feel sharp disappointment on losing to the Panthers, even though we went in as the same win-loss record. I thought we were definitely better.
And I'm the guy that doesn't believe a single play makes or breaks a game, but that fumble, so untimely.
When you hit it, but you know what? The Giants have to fight to get to overtime.
Yep.
To fight to get to overtime.
And I will say this for the defender
So-
that caused that fumble, it was a perfect punch
yep.
right on the ball, just absolutely perfect. It just and he was in the middle of trying to break out of another tackle. It's just
Yep.
very unfortunate timing. And Tyrone Tracy, I hope. It sucks he's going into a bye week now. He's got an extra week to stew on it before he gets back on the field.
He's been playing really great ball. Devin Singletary started the season as their number one running back.
Yep.
Tracy is looking like the guy that, and which I love because Singletary's been great, but he's an RB2 at this point in time. So the fact that you've got an RB1 developing, I like that a lot.
Absolutely.
And I hope he can get his head right and come back angry and mad while making good decisions.
Hope so
Absolutely.
too. Yep.
Yeah.
So those same Patriots that Scott can't stand went into Chicago, beat my Bears today, 19-3. May had 184 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Ramondre Stevenson, 74 yards rushing. Austin Hooper, 3 catches, 64 yards. Demario Douglas, 4 catches for 50 yards. The Patriots defense had, I'm not even going to name a single player, they had 9 sacks. 9 sacks.
9.
Caleb Williams, 130 yards
We're not in
passing,
Germany.
15 yards rushing. DeAndre Swift, 59 yards rushing. And this is where things become a problem. Keenan Allen, 5 catches for 44. DJ Moore, 3 catches for 24. Odunze, 3 catches for 23. On the defensive side, TJ Edwards did have a hell of a game at linebacker. 13 tackles, 7 solo, and an interception. The Bears were down a couple offensive tackles in this, but that's no excuse. There is no excuse for how this team is playing.
All right. So First,
So
Matt.
if you're going to talk about emotion, first of all, give me the Packers.
First, you're like, you're gonna get a Packers. Your Bears are gonna sit over
and
here.
I'll tell you what my emotion is after
So
this
all right,
fucking
so
game.
Bears were coming in this 4-4.
Yeah, after dropping the last two, they lost on the Hail Mary to the Commies, and then got their asses handed to them by the Cards.
Yep.
And they did. They got their asses handed to them.
Coming in today 4-4, going up against a 2-7 team.
Yep.
That being said, this 2-7 team has been doing much better with May at the helm. He is. I know they made it seem like they wanted to sit him for the season, and they clearly needed him. Like, you might as well give him development. So he is the better quarterback. Versus, was it Stidham? Who was it? No.
Brissett.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, Brissett. So all right. So now you have an expectation of coming into the game as the better team against a team that is very clearly a bad team. What is your one or two main emotional takeaways from it?
Fire everyone.
Oh, burn that shit to the ground.
In all honesty,
Eberflus on the line.
Fire Eberflus and fire the offensive coordinator.
Ouch. Mid-season or after the season?
It has to happen at the end of the season, in my mind. If it happened in the middle of the season, I don't know if I would really argue a whole lot. It feels like they've lost this team. They cannot scheme against a defense that's middle of the road, but not that great. You can't scheme away to get a little bit of time for Caleb Williams to throw to these three wide receivers who, one of them almost averaged 10 yards a catch.
Yeah.
So you're not even getting them downfield looks. You're doing short looks because you have no time for him to protect Caleb. This offensive line is a disaster. And if your head coach, injury plagued, but if your head coach and your offensive coordinator, I mean, 2 weeks ago when we lost to the Commies, we didn't have all these injuries.
Yeah, but the Commies are a really good team.
Yeah,
and the offense looked like trash for all but one quarter of that game too.
Do you think the defense is like, I'm fucking tired?
Yes, they're exhausted at this point.
I
don't think they're giving up. I don't think they're giving up, but I think they're fucking literally tired that it's hard for them to keep up through four quarters because the offense is constantly having 3 and outs. They haven't scored a touchdown in something like 21 drives.
Oh my God.
Well, I know, like, minus special teams, they didn't hit 200 yards of offense. Mm-hmm. And, like, you can't do that to your defense.
Yeah.
No, not at all. Disgust is just the plain emotion.
Disgust, yeah.
Because it seemed on offense, some of the players looked like they were playing hard. DJ Moore on one of his catches, very short ones, he went through about 3 or 4 guys to get it out to like a 14-yard gain. So there's guys that are playing hard, but it doesn't look like the entire team is. And there's just stupid penalties that kill drives, false starts and illegal motions. And it's like, this is dumb. Like, you're halfway through the season and you're still making beginning of season penalties.
So let's rewind 4 weeks. 4 weeks ago, you and I were definitely sitting here saying, all right, Caleb Williams might have been the right choice for the Bears.
When they were 4-2. Yeah.
Right? He might have been the right choice.
I still think he was the right choice.
But now here we are. Caleb Williams and Justin Fields' stats through the first stretch of games are pretty much the same. Pretty much the same. And Justin Fields had a worse offensive line to play behind. Although he did have DJ Moore. DJ Moore was but ultimately, what could have happened was you could have made the trades. You could have leveraged that number 1 spot for an improved offensive line. And we have seen that Justin Fields, behind a better offensive line, was a better quarterback in Pittsburgh.
And far better coaching.
Right. That being said, I do think that Justin Fields is a better running quarterback. I think we've seen his ceiling with what he's doing in Pittsburgh. I think he's going to be around for a long time in the league. He's going to be, whether he's a starter or he's a backup.
At some point.
He needs to find his own.
He's likely to be one of those guys that he's got a place in the league. We'll see him for a long time. We've seen his ceiling. I think Caleb Williams still we haven't seen a ceiling yet. But holy shit, 4 weeks ago we were like, I think we were wrong. I think Caleb Williams was clearly the right choice to make. Now, it kind of feels like if maybe in the long run, but you really need to make better decisions.
It feels like 992nd verse, same as the first.
Yeah, right? Right?
Okay, like I can't believe. I said this earlier.
Chicago
It is
hates their
so
quarterbacks, is what you're trying to
fucking weird to say again this year that the problem is not the quarterback, just as it wasn't last year.
We'll just take everything that you said last year about the Bears, and instead of Justin Fields, we'll just edit in the quarterback.
Yeah.
And we'll use the same clip for 10 years.
Yeah, there we
You
go.
can.
There we go.
You can, because listen,
And-
on paper,
AI review of all Bears games.
on paper, we do have the better team, especially with the different weapons on offense and some of the defensive individual players. I think part of it stems a little bit still from that Hail Mary game. I think instead of just sitting Tyreek Stevenson for a couple drives, they should have fucking benched him for a whole fucking game.
And find the fuck out of him.
Yes.
Yep.
As much as they could.
Yep.
For do it as conduct detrimental to the team for the way he didn't even pay attention on that last play.
Yep. Get almost beat.
Not just not paying attention, actively
Yeah.
engaging with fans.
Fans. Yes.
Negatively.
Yes.
You weren't
And-
You weren't pumping anyone up.
No.
You were trying to put them down.
Yep, and I think that there's probably a feeling among veterans on the defense of you let him get away with that shit,
Yeah.
and I think it kind of lost. I think it's lost Eberflus to the locker room, and that is why, unfortunately, I do think they need to let him go. I think Shane Waldron has to go too, though, because the offense is a problem, and this becomes a big issue because it is Caleb Williams' rookie fucking year, and look what happened to Trevor Lawrence when Urban Meyer got fired in the middle of the season. He hasn't really come back since
Yeah.
to what we thought he could be. This is a really bad situation, and there's no easy answer.
No.
So
I mean, I would say, like, get a coach that instills a sense of discipline. Like, really. Like, start with the fucking basics. Don't do the shit you couldn't get away with in high school. Start from there, and then build, you know?
And this goes back to, and I'm not saying it's easy, but this goes back to what we've talked about how many times about making the coaching staff stronger.
yes, pay him more.
Pay.
It's for quality, of
Right.
course.
Pay your O-line coordinator, pay your D-line coordinator better. Lean into, like, really believe in them so they're not always looking for the next place to go.
Yep.
You are earning your spot there, and then your coach doesn't need to be calling plays all the time. You need to be the tone setter
Yep.
of all things.
Yeah, let
And
the coach be the game manager. Like,
Absolutely.
You take care of your
Because-
end. Yeah.
The next 8 games:
Oh, it is ugly.
Packers, Vikings, Lions, 49ers, Vikings, Lions, Seahawks, Packers. There is an excellent chance that they don't win a game the rest of the season.
Finish
Well,
at 4-13.
Let's talk a little. We're going to get to the Vikings because I think there's some things to say about them. right now,
Oh,
so.
yeah.
I'll agree with you there because I would like to speak on that as well. Okay,
But, yeah.
the next game, the Broncos traveled to Kansas City and lost an absolute crusher to the Chiefs,
which
14 to
means-
16.
Yeah, not that one, Brian.
Which means Brian gets to wear the Hey, at least the Cowboys lost today.
Only one time have the Broncos lost and the Cowboys won this season.
Okay.
And
Takes a little sting out of that.
the most recent ones, they're getting their asses handed to them. So
Uh-huh,
I'll take this. I'll
all
take
right.
this.
Bo Nix had 215 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Audric Estime got the majority of the carries at running back. Javonte Williams, nowhere to be seen, had 1
Yep.
carry.
Yep. I don't know what's up with that either.
So Estime had 53 yards rushing. Cortland Sutton, 6 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown. Vele, 4 catches, 39 and a touchdown. For the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, 266 yards passing and a touchdown. Kareem Hunt, 35 yards rushing, 7 catches for 65 yards. Travis Kelce, 8 catches, 64 yards and a touchdown. DeAndre Hopkins, 4 catches for 56. So if you're tracking it, Kelce is still on pace to beat DeAndre Hopkins to 1,000 receptions for the career. They're both at like 950. The Broncos lost this at the last second when on their attempt at a field goal, the left side of their offensive line
Just collapsed.
got caved in.
Yeah.
And there was no stopping all those guys rushing in to block that kick. It's one of those fairy tale endings you hope for as a football fan. And as someone that has had their team lose on a Hail Mary this year, it is one of the absolute worst things to have to witness or watch a highlight of with your team.
I was glad I was stuck on an airplane and did not get to witness it.
I actually told Brian that after having watched my team lose on that Hail Mary, I was glad he didn't have to watch that field goal block.
Like I saw the box score, like 14-16. They made him just field goal away to victory. I'm not too upset about that.
Right,
And then to
right.
see that last one, like, oh.
All right. So as we're talking about the emotional spectrum of a loss, Broncos coming in underdog, Chiefs undefeated, Broncos defense showing exactly who they are.
Yeah.
No doubt
Solid
about
defense.
it. But also putting on offense that isn't great, putting up some points against
Early,
Kansas City
too. Yeah,
early
yeah.
feels good. Feels real good.
Yes.
So
Because you cannot undersell how good that KC defense is.
right. So to lose to them when it's a 95% lock.
Yeah.
Like a 40-yard field goal. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
basically an extra point.
Not
An extra point away,
even a
basically.
missed field goal, a blocked one.
Yep.
So what is that emotional state of coming in as the underdog, but then doing well? Oh, by the way, against an in-conference team, a rival team.
The best team in the NFL.
Yeah, right.
Record-wise, at least, yeah.
And to be in their home
Oh,
and have that chance.
so what is that emotional feeling?
So, honestly, like, if you would have said, hey, week 10, Broncos are going to lose to Kansas City at the very last second, and that's going to drop them to 5-5. I would have been like, I'll fucking take that. I'll take that any day of the week, you know?
So the 10,000-foot view doesn't feel bad.
It really doesn't, because, like, I think Bo Nix is the guy. He was the guy that I wanted them to draft, like, where they're going to fall anyway. And, like, I was tired of, like, the Russell Wilson experiment and, like, the Sean Payton. I like Sean Payton. Peyton Manning experiment. Like, I like the Broncos to build a team. Like, that's what they did in the, fucking decades ago with John Elway. And look what happened. Like, build a fucking team, And for them to be this not bad and almost fucking beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead, I'm good with it.
Okay.
I mean, seeing the blocked field goal, just,
Okay.
you were so fucking close. It fucking hurts, but the pain went away pretty quickly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. If you think you were watching it live, would that change things?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think he probably would have been like me, where it's just stop completely and walk out of the garage.
Yeah. Yes.
And have to take a minute.
I'm gonna go shadow box nothing. I'm gonna go like, oh, that motherfucking planner out there. I'm giving that a kick. Yeah, take that in that.
Yeah, you almost have to worry about a planner to move next year. Yeah, I mean, number one, we were actually talking about it in the airport before we got on the plane. It's like, he's like, and even Brian's like, it's just like, Mahomes can just drive down the field at the end and win these games.
He just can. Yeah.
Yeah, he can. That's just
That's
part
how they
of
win almost every game.
That's
This season.
part of him. That's his DNA.
the-
That record when he's down by 10. He's the only quarterback in NFL history
with a
to have
winning record.
Winning record. If he's obviously
down by 10
not
at half.
down by 10 at the end of the game.
Yeah. Down by 10 at half.
Don't hear what we're not saying here.
Down by 10 at half. The only NFL quarterback in history to have a winning record.
It's pretty astounding.
It's astounding.
And as you said earlier, it also does really illustrate how good of a team he's had since he started playing for them. They have been an excellent squad. They've been a Super Bowl contender. Having him takes them to, we can repeat as Super Bowl champs. The years where, like his first 3 years, like where he got his first Super Bowl, even with Alex Smith, that's a fucking playoff team.
Yeah.
And I don't care. That would have still been a playoff team. Mm-hmm. But with him added, it's scary how good that team has been. All right, you ready to move on to the next games?
Yeah, let's cook.
Yeah, we can keep
We don't have to talk about our feelings anymore.
All right. Speaking of feelings, I'm sorry, Washington fans.
Oh my
The
God.
Pittsburgh Steelers went to Washington. They won 28-27. Russell Wilson, 195 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Jalen Warren led him in rushing, 66 yards, also had 2 catches for 29 yards. But Najee Harris, not to be outdone, 53 rushing yards and a touchdown. George Pickens continues his excellent season. 5 catches, 91 yards and a touchdown. And not to be outdone, brand new wideout that I was questioning why they would pick up another deep field downplay guy. Mike Williams. 1 catch, 32 yards and a touchdown. So already coming through a little bit.
Yep.
For the Commanders, Jaden Daniels, 202 yards passing. Eckler, 44 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. McLaurin, 5 catches for 113. Brown had 3 catches for 33 yards and an awful drop of what should have been a touchdown in the first half that we witnessed that was just sad.
Yep.
And Zach Ertz, 4 catches for 31 yards. If you didn't see the end of this game, there was a pretty controversial turnover on downs because of the distance that was awarded to the Commies on a 4th down that they attempted, and it was the difference in the game.
Yeah, I was watching that one. It was actually the perfect football fan 4 downs, right? They had 10 yards. The 3rd down pass was a perfect pass right to the receiver's hands, and the defensive player was in the exact right spot to get it deflected away. Actually went off his helmet just a little bit, which is what was there at the perfect time to interfere. It was textbook, just magical. So then 4th down, it was right to Zach Ertz, and as I was watching it and where they run that yellow line down the field, he was there, his knee goes down, he's turning, the ball was across that yellow line. And then here comes the line judge running out at this angle.
Yeah.
And then it's like, give me the ball, and he puts it here, and it's like, that's this fucking far away. That's half a goddamn yard.
And there's always a line judge right at the marker.
You would think, but they run out, and there's people in the way, and they got to move, and it's like, I don't know how you keep your eyes fixed.
Mm-hmm.
And he set it down.
I think it's pretty obvious.
And then
they do it like Steve Buscemi's character in Mr. Deeds.
Oh yeah.
One eye that direction, one eye that direction.
That was a real bummer, just because that would have been so fun. That's the script. Instead of the refs, and it was challenged, and the challenge didn't stand. And I'm not saying it was wrong. I watched it multiple times, and I'm like, it does look to me like it's crossed the plane, but because of where Ertz was, his knee hit, but he was still very upright. So you got the angle of it, it wasn't whatever. And they would have been in field goal range. They're there, and with a fresh set of downs. So whatever. Pickens is blowing up. He did have I missed it. I heard it secondhand from our friend Steve. He was like, what was the deal with him trying to fight someone instead of blocking? And I was like, I missed that.
He's a bit of a hothead. He needs to get some shit under control. But you know what?
As a receiver,
the Steelers have had wide receivers like that so many times at this point in the last 20 years. That at this point, I'm just like, man, if you could control Antonio Brown while he was there,
right?
I think you can handle Pickens.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's no Bell. He's no Brown. Yeah.
But listen, Russell Wilson. I said last week I picked them to win because of him. I didn't realize the refs were going to be helping him so much. But 195 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's a solid game from a guy that I had written off completely.
Yep.
The Pittsburgh Steelers at, what are they now, 7-2?
Yeah.
And I think they're paying about, let's see, Fields is in the 4th year of his rookie contract, so they might be paying $15 million a year for their quarterback room.
Because the Broncos are still paying for
Russell Wilson. Yeah, because Russell Wilson signed for the veterans minimum with the Steelers because that meant the Broncos had to pick up the rest of the tab. Whatever the Steelers paid him, the Broncos had to cover the rest to get to his contract level. Yep. So the Steelers have the cheapest quarterback room in the NFL right now.
And 2 good ones.
Yeah, 2 guys that can legitimately start games for him. So good on you. And you know what? Even if the defense didn't do a whole lot today, that was still an impressive win.
Yeah, it was.
Speaking of defense, or lack of offense, I don't know how you want to look at it. The Vikings beat the Jags today, 12-7.
Oh my God.
Sam Darnold decided to do his best imitation of
himself from 3 years ago.
Yeah, 241 yards passing and 3 interceptions. Aaron Jones had 88 yards rushing. Hawkinson led him in receiving with 8 catches for 72 yards. Oliver, 4 catches for 52 yards. Justin Jefferson, very quiet game, 5 catches, 48 yards. For the Jags, Mac Jones decided to play like Sam Darnold of 3 years ago.
No, Mac Jones was playing like
Mac Jones of Patriots. I don't know. 111 yards passing and 2 interceptions. Travis Etienne, 44 yards rushing. Evan Ingram, 6 catches for 40 yards. Devin Lloyd, this is both linebackers, okay? Devin Lloyd had 16 tackles, 6 solo. Fuck. And Foye Sade had 11 tackles, 6 solo, and an interception. So the Jags defense showed up to play. Unfortunately, they had Mac Jones as a starter, who had a good rookie year. I think that year of having a defensive coordinator and a special teams coordinator be his offensive coordinator really hurt.
Yeah.
As far as Darnold goes, Listen, he's going to have games where he plays well. The offensive coordinator, O'Connell, the head coach / offensive coordinator for the Vikings, is very good. He will scheme them a lot better plays in the future. But Darnold is occasionally going to be that same guy that said, I'm seeing ghosts out there.
So
It's in his DNA. Yeah. But he's still a young quarterback also.
They started so hot, and everyone was like, Sam Darnold, are you fucking kidding me? Right? I think we're seeing teams recognize his strengths, his habits, right? That game tape is going strong. But this is also the best time for Minnesota to go through this.
Yep.
Right? Go through these woes. If Sam Darnold, give him 1 or 2 more games where it's a little rough, if he turns it around, they can make a good playoff run.
Yep.
They're not a Super Bowl team right now.
No. But they're playoff caliber. Their defense and their playmakers on offense.
Hawkinson being back, putting up numbers is terrifying. Justin Jefferson was quiet, fine, okay, but like that means that
they
was just
probably rolling all the coverage towards him.
That's what I mean.
Even
right.
more curious why Jordan Addison didn't have a better game. To be quite honest.
Right. That means that like everyone is like, okay, like here's the habit is this. Let's go track that, follow that. They forced all the errors because they had Justin Jefferson covered, and there wasn't enough out there. Like everything went wrong for Minnesota, but I also think that this is the right thing for them if they can correct. And I'm not so sure that he's the right quarterback to make those corrections. I want you to prove me wrong. That will be great. That's good fucking football.
That is. I think in the end, even if they end up, if something weird happened and they started 5-0 and missed the playoffs again, which would make them the last 2 teams to do it.
Yeah.
I still think that the arrow is pointing quite well in the upward direction for them, like as it is for most of the NFC North.
Yeah.
Because I do think J.J. McCarthy,
if he's the real
can
deal,
be a better quarterback than Sam Darnold.
Like,
I'm not saying like MVP of the league level, just a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. Which for most of Sam Darnold's career, that means that J.J. McCarthy will be a solid starter.
Yeah, just a solid starter.
If he's just that,
and
if he's Kirk Cousins, again for them, that's a win.
That's a dig on Cousins that I don't think you deserve.
No. That's not a dig on Cousins. I'm not talking about like the flame out in prime time. I mean the Kirk Cousins that every year has about 4,000 yards passing and about 26 to 30 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. If that's all they get out of McCarthy, which is still really good, then so you had 1 year where Sam Darnold played because McCarthy got injured.
And they have the squad to support that.
Yep. Yes, absolutely.
You don't have to be the hero quarterback. You can just be a good quarterback and succeed.
Absolutely.
And that confidence is going to help you out so much. Going through adversity is good. It's good. It builds the character, but also having the team that can give you enough wins to keep your confidence high. Because if you're only adversity, there's not a lot of guys that can do that, Matt Stafford. Right?
Yeah.
Not a lot of guys that can live through that. So.
Okay.
That's a good point.
The Falcons traveled to New Orleans and lost?
What?
Did we get this wrong across the board? I mean, don't look it up, Brian. So
the Falcons lost 20-17.
I mean, don't you want to know?
Yeah.
Yeah, we all picked the Falcons.
There you go. Kirk Cousins did have 300 yards passing, but he had an interception, no touchdowns. Bijan Robinson had a great game. 116 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns.
When you just look at their stats, in terms of yards, you're like, this is a fucking great game.
Yeah.
Just no touchdowns.
Yep. Bijan Robinson, 116 yards and 2
Killed
touchdowns.
It.
3 catches for 28 yards. Drake London, 8 catches, 97 yards.
Killed it.
Darnell Mooney, 5 catches, 96 yards.
Killed it.
Kyle Pitts, 4 catches, 55 yards.
Killed it.
Those are all great. Just, you need touchdowns. For the Saints, Derek Carr, 269 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Both of them to Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who came out of hibernation. I'm sure he'll go back in now because he only has 1 good game a year.
He saw a shadow. Yeah.
Yeah. 3 catches, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns. I only wrote down Taysom Hill because he was the next leading receiver with 2 catches for 36 yards.
Yeah, right.
I'm sorry, out of the non-running backs because Alvin Kamara had 55 yards rushing to go with 5 catches for 54 yards. To me, this is more of the Saints getting that we fired our head coach boost.
Yep.
And the Falcons just coming into the wrong week to be playing against the Saints.
Yeah.
I still think the Falcons are the better team.
Falcons had almost 300 more yards of offense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to get touchdowns.
The Falcons
No points
are
out of it,
the
yeah.
Falcons are the better team. Derek Carr might have been a little fired up when everyone was broadcasting how, hey, here are the worst quarterbacks, right? And it went from his brother to him,
Wow.
right? Like
Wait, David was worse or better?
No, did we not? Let me pull. I'm sorry, I apologize. Did we not pull up that stat ever? We haven't talked
No,
about
I
that
don't think we've
stat.
talked
I don't
about
think
this.
so. Oh, that sucks.
Give me a second.
But like,
no.
also the Saints have so many fucking offensive weapons. Like, there's no reason their
You
record
mean
should be
so
this
many offensive
goddamn
weapons
awful.
that aren't playing? Chris Olave's on IR.
Yeah, but even before
Rashid
then,
Shaheed
even
is
before-
injured.
I mean, they haven't all missed the entire season at the same time. Like, there's no
Well, they're
fucking
both
reason
out right
to be
now.
this bad. Well, now they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's weird though because
But then they
actually
beat
had-
the fucking
'cause
Falcons, you know?
These scores by MVS brought back what exactly worked for the Saints the first 2 weeks, and that was hitting for big plays.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
haven't had a big play maker because Olave kept getting knocked out of games before that concussion finally truly knocked him out.
Yeah, no shit.
Rashid Shaheed's been out for what, 4 or 5 games now,
Yeah.
so there's no big plays coming from his direction.
And, like, I mean,
Taysom Hill is an interesting player, but he's not a big play player.
Like, oh, let's use Valdez-Scantling now.
Yeah.
This is a fun addition,
Yeah.
you know?
He's fast as fuck. He's only gonna be good for 1 or 2 games. Let's break him out when we really need him. Because, and I'm sorry to Falcons fans, or I'm sorry, Saints fans. It's not that I don't think he can't play. It's that he's been with such good quarterbacks already and not been able to be consistent. If you can't have consistency with Aaron Rodgers and with Patrick
And with
Mahomes,
Patrick Mahomes.
you are not a consistent player. That's all I'm saying.
Yep. And everyone's like, well, he plays for these great fucking teams. Like, he's got to have value, and he does. He's just horribly inconsistent.
It might be special teams value. Maybe he's excellent as a punt gunner or some shit like that.
I mean, now we can find
Which is
out.
fine. Like having a role is fine. Marquez Valdez-Scantling as your 3rd or 4th wide receiver, it's not a bad thing. It's really not.
You know, it wouldn't be bad because the Saints' return teams are awful. Punts and kick returns. Yeah, fuck it. Throw Valdez-Scantling in there. See what happens.
Have you found your stats?
No, I haven't found the thing I'm looking for. So
I'm going to say that David Carr is rated just above Derek Carr.
Probably, but Derek Carr's had years where he was MVP consideration for
Yeah.
a few weeks back
Yeah.
with the Raiders. So I think because he played with a team that was
I got it.
slightly better
I got it.
than the Texans were during David's time.
Hold on. Ready for this? The most losses as a starting quarterback through 4 seasons. Derek Carr with 43. Through 5 seasons. Sorry. 4 seasons, David Carr 43. 5 seasons, David Carr 53. 6 seasons, David Carr 56. 7 seasons, Derek Carr 63. 8 seasons, Derek Carr 70. 9 seasons, Derek Carr 79.
Oh my god.
10 seasons, Derek Carr 87. 11 seasons, Derek Carr and Archie Manning. Although he did just get a win today, which means he's still tied with Archie Manning. But
You have to go
literally
back that fucking
through
far?
6 seasons, it was through 4, 5, and 6 seasons. His brother is the most losses as a starting quarterback, and then at 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, it's Derek. The Carr brothers
Oh my
are
god.
holding the most losses as starting quarterback through seasons 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and with one more loss of the season, Derek Carr will knock off Archie Manning.
And like, I mean, the Raiders were never. Well, no, they had some good years with him.
Well, they had Crabtree and Amari Cooper at wide receiver. They had Khalil Mack on the defensive side.
Whereas like David and that horrible, porous Texans offensive line.
And
He
he
had
just-
Andre Johnson to throw
know?
to after like I think starting in his 2nd year.
And-
And Andre Johnson, he did put up numbers.
It was like hike.
yeah.
Hike. That's
Oh
the only
my
way to
God,
fucking
yeah.
avoid the sack. That's
he
it.
had,
you know?
he was sacked so. I mean, like he goes down as like one of the most sacked quarterbacks.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The 49ers traveled to Tampa Bay and they beat the Buccaneers 23-20. Brock Purdy, 353 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey made his comeback on the season, 39 yards rushing, but had 6 catches for 68 yards. Jawan Jennings came back from a hamstring injury, led the 49ers in receiving with 7 catches for 93. Ricky Pearsall, fresh off getting shot in the chest in the preseason, had 4 catches for 73 yards and a touchdown. And George Kittle continued his very good campaign with 3 catches for 57 yards and a touchdown. For the Bucks, man, it's a good thing their defense was with them because their offense was hurting today.
No
Baker
wide
Mayfield,
receivers.
they have no wide receivers to throw to.
Yeah.
Quite accurate term there. Mayfield, 116 yards passing and 1 touchdown. Bucky Irving, 73 yards rushing and a touchdown to go with 3 catches for 14 yards. Rashad White had 31 yards rushing, but he had 6 catches for 39 yards and a touchdown. And Cade Otton was the leading non-running back receiver with 5 catches for 35 yards. Moody, kicker for the 49ers, was 3 of 6. And at one point, after his third missed field goal, got shoved. He and I believe this long snapper got shoved by Debo, who was a little upset with all the misses.
Ooh.
However, in the end, it was a last-second field goal by Moody to win the game. I'm not saying Debo doesn't have a right to be a little upset, but come on, man. That's your team. People are going to have bad games. You've had bad games. I've seen them.
Yeah.
The argument, not the argument, but the debate about whether field goals still belong in today's game. I
Not
understand.
in fantasy, but they still belong in the NFL.
I believe it. I believe in it. At the same time, like, I get it. Like, we're out here scrapping and fighting and pushing, and you're out here for one play. You've got one job, and you're missing.
Yes, keep in mind, they had to kick a field goal at the very end when they could have just been up 26-20 and just run the fucking clock out.
But if you think about the equivalency of, like, if you look at how many times a kicker misses versus how many times a receiver drops a catchable ball, the kicker makes it most of the fucking time.
You know what? Larry Fitzgerald would have the right to push it.
Yeah, Larry Fitzgerald, that's about it, yeah.
Last year, we talked quite a bit about why kickers should get paid more.
Yeah. Because they are difference makers.
The percentage of points per game
Yep.
that belong to a kicker is really high.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, it's really high. Yeah.
yeah. So you're having a bad game. Yep, you're right. Your job is also to not even get in rhythm. Your job is just to go out and do one thing.
Yep.
You have no rhythm. There is no ebb and flow to a game.
That little practice net on the side,
Yeah.
20 seconds beforehand.
Right.
Come
yeah,
on, you know.
Yeah. Although I do have something negative to say about kicker later on. So
Okay. The Bills traveled to Indianapolis, beat the Colts 30-20. Josh Allen decided to look like Patrick Mahomes of earlier this season. Had 260 yards passing, 2 interceptions. He did have a rushing touchdown and 50 yards rushing. James Cook, 80 yards rushing and a touchdown. Hollins, 4 catches for 86. Knox, 2 for 40. Khalil Shakir, 6 catches for 58 yards. For the Colts, Flacco, 272 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, but 3 interceptions that cost his team dearly. Jonathan Taylor, 114 yards rushing. Alec Pierce, 4 catches for 81 yards and a touchdown. Josh Downs, 7 for 72. Adonai Mitchell, 6 for 71. And Goodson, backup running back, got the receiving touchdown to the running back. That really would help my fantasy team if Jonathan Taylor got it. That's the only reason I mention it. Listen, we all picked the Bills to win this game last week. The Colts are not the better team. I am just going to continue with my thought that I've had for the last 2 weeks. Anthony Richardson needs to be your starter. You need to go through the bumps with him. You need to let him develop. You need to let him learn while playing the game. Joe Flacco is not winning you a Super Bowl.
I don't think he's the bad choice, though.
Sorry, real quick.
Texans are running all over Detroit.
I'm gonna say we are watching Detroit and Texans right now.
Keep in mind though, it's Houston at home. They always play better at home.
Joe Mixon on a hell of a run here.
Mixon's
Sorry.
a great running back. He's a shitty human being, but he's a great running back.
If we get distracted, there's a 50-50 chance it's because one, we're old, or we're watching the game. So
Good point. Listen, the Bills, and I jest about Josh Allen. He's having a great season. He's an MVP candidate, as always.
I'll say this though, good on Indiana for being able to keep any throwing touchdown from Buffalo.
Yeah, that's
I agree.
impressive.
That was really nice. Moral victory for Indiana. That being said, stop starting Joe Flacco.
It's just because you drafted that Anthony Richardson knowing he was a project.
Yep.
You knew that.
Yeah.
Now he has to get time on task. You need him to have the growing pains. Your offensive line's not bad enough to where he's going to be getting hurt from the amount of sacks. If he gets hurt at all, it's because he's trying to run the ball too much.
Yeah.
But no, I'm sorry. I think Anthony Richardson should be out there on the field.
Agreed.
The Titans traveled to L.A. to take on the Chargers and got beat down. Although Will Levis did play pretty well. They lost 27-17. Will Levis, 175 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Tyjae Spears had 47 yards rushing. Tony Pollard had 44. Receiving-wise, Calvin Ridley, 5 catches for 84 and those 2 touchdowns. Westbrook Akine, 3 catches for 31. And one of their linebackers, Jack Gibbons, had 15 tackles, 10 of them
Jesus.
solo.
Jesus.
What a game. For the Chargers, Justin Herbert, 164 yards passing and a touchdown to go with 32 yards rushing and a touchdown. Gus Edwards came back off the IR, led him in rushing with 55 yards. J.K. Dobbins with 50. Ladidi McKinky, 2 catches for 52 yards. Will Disley, 5 catches for 30 yards. And Quentin Johnson, otherwise known as huge mistake of a first-round draft pick. 2 catches for 24 yards and a touchdown. Listen, I kind of jest with that. I think Quentin Johnson's actually developing a little bit this season. Not a whole lot, but they're not throwing the ball as much as they have in the past in all these games.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, this is not a surprise to me. I think even if you just look at it on paper,
Yeah.
the Chargers are such a better team between, Herbert to Levis.
Yeah.
I know which way the greater sign goes there. They do have better running backs, I think, on the Titans, but the Chargers, with the offensive line that they've drafted, with the defensive players that they have, the coaching of Jim Harbaugh.
Who's better than Dobbins?
Oh, I think Tajay Spears is at least equal to Dobbins at this point.
Ooh, okay. I
When healthy and when he's playing, I guess is
fair.
probably the
Okay.
key there.
All right. All right.
I mean, I like Ladidi.
He's
He's a nice little wide receiver.
not
He's
there
a nice
yet.
little wide
He's
receiver.
a rookie. You know, he's got some growing to do.
Calvin
but
Ridley
yeah.
is the better wide receiver, but I just think across the board on
Oh, you're saying
paper,
in terms of who should be their starting running back?
yeah. Well, the Didi McConkey is a
He's a wide receiver.
yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, I still think the Chargers are the better team. I think the Titans are not a good team, but
Yeah.
the Chargers are going to be near the end of the near the basement in the division also. But it is what it is. They beat a team that they should.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
good on them.
Yes.
And Will Levis, glad to see you playing better. Maybe sitting
yeah.
and seeing Mason Rudolph play for a while you were hurt.
Well, and also, I mean, like, what, 2 tutties, no interceptions,
Yep. Yep.
7 sacks?
Yep.
Like, that's impressive. To get not a single interception, to get your ass handed to you
That's a
pretty
really
consistently.
it's a really good point.
You know, because that's
He
usually
does-
when the fucked up ones happen.
I would like to see him develop. He's a good, strong quarterback.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to have he's got a cannon. The accuracy,
You know,
let's build that.
That actually makes me feel a little. Thank you for saying that. I feel a little bit better about Caleb Williams today. Got sacked 9 times, but he
times.
did not throw an
No
interception.
picks either, yeah. I mean, that's progress.
That's
you know?
standing and at least knowing
For these young
get
guys.
rid of it
Yeah.
or just take the sack.
Yep, and get rid of it properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Jets did not do well in Arizona. I understand, being a Bears fan. Sorry, Jets fans. Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry, they lost 31-6. Aaron Rodgers 151 yards passing. Brees Hall 52 yards rushing, 4 catches for 31 yards. Garrett Wilson 5 catches for 41 yards. Devontae Adams 6 catches for 31 yards. For the Cardinals, Kyler Murray 266 yards passing and a touchdown. I believe he also had a rushing touchdown. Benson was 62 yards rushing to lead him. Connor only had 33 yards rushing, but had a touchdown, and he led them in receiving with 5 catches for 80 yards. Trey McBride, 4 for 71. Marvin Harrison Jr., 5 catches, 54 yards, and a touchdown. And Budda Baker, he of getting hawked down by DK Metcalf fame,
He never lived that down.
had 9 tackles, 6 solo, and a sack, which, for safety, not a bad little game.
Yeah.
The Cardinals are no longer a team that plays really hard.
Yeah.
They're a team that plays really hard and is actually kind of good.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
I'm going to give them that bump.
Yes. I think we're there. Fucking watch out.
Yep.
Watch out. Yeah.
Like,
I also think Kyler Murray. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna imagine they get another offensive tool. Oh my god!
That's exactly
Oh
what
my
I was
God,
thinking.
You know,
Because Marvin Harrison is a great number 1 wide receiver to have. Now get him another wide out on the other side. Have Trey McBride in the
Yep.
middle of the field. Connor, I don't know how much longer he has in his career, but he's playing really
Played
tough.
great ball.
And Benson, it looks to be like a really nice number 2 back out of the backfield for them.
yeah. If they keep a nice rotating backfield like the Broncos did when they were winning Super Bowls, I can see them not investing heavily in a single running back and have a nice committee going.
Yep.
You know, which could allow them to afford a good receiver.
And Murray, this is usually the time of year when people say he drops off because of video game playing, and he seems to be playing better and better.
Has the Madden release date been pushed back? I didn't
No,
look
and
at
Call of
that.
Duty's already come out too.
Yep. Yep.
So, seems to be doing okay.
I mean, maybe he's not a Black Ops 6 guy. I don't know.
Yeah. And finally, Cowboys fans, I'm sorry. The Eagles went to Dallas, and this was a beatdown on a
Don't
level of
apologize.
I
what
didn't
happened to my Bears in Arizona last week.
I didn't
my
expect
God.
this bad of a beatdown.
No.
I know. I thought this game would be closer, especially because they actually had some pieces back on defense today.
Parsons is back. That's not insignificant.
So's Diggs.
Yeah,
He had an interception today.
But I mean, first game back, are you a little hesitant if you're Micah Parsons? Are you like, I'm back, baby, fuck it, you know? Are you kind of like, well, let's wait and see how this unfolds and how everything feels?
Well,
you
maybe.
know?
The Eagles won 34-6. Hurts had 202 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He also had 56 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. Saquon, 66 yards rushing. A.J. Brown, 5 catches for 109. Dotson, 1 catch for 27. Goddard, 2 catches, 25 yards and a touchdown. Eagles defense had 4 forced fumbles, recovered all 4, and got an interception.
Holy shit.
Yep. Cooper Rush had 45 yards passing, lost 2 of those fumbles. Trey Lance entered the game later on, had a total of 21 yards passing with an interception. Rico Dowdle, 53 yards rushing. Jake Ferguson was their leading receiver at 4 catches for 24. CeeDee Lamb had 6 catches for 21 yards. But DeMarvion Overshow had a pretty good game for them at linebacker. 11 tackles, 8 solo, 2 sacks. Not a bad game in a losing performance.
Cooper DeJean was looking nice today.
Yep. Yeah, he had one of the fumble recovers.
Yep.
We all picked the Eagles to win this game, I'm pretty
No.
sure. No?
No.
I did.
Homeboy over here picked Dallas.
Oh,
Skunk Hunter picked Dallas.
Oh, he was trying to get them extra points.
Yeah, and there he loses the one he gained on us from the Panthers.
all right.
Listen, we've talked about the Cowboys' woes. This week, Dak Prescott went on the IR. He has an avulsion of his hamstring. To give you an idea of what that means, on your muscles, you have a tendon that connects the muscle to the bone. An avulsion happens when part of the bone and tendon pulls away. It's very fucking painful. So he is on IR. If he's back in 4 weeks, I'd actually be pretty fucking shocked.
Yeah.
His season is probably in jeopardy at this point.
That makes
Cooper Rush looked bad today.
Cooper Rush started fine. In all honesty,
The
he
Eagles
was.
defense played great.
I was gonna say that's really tough. He going into this game, he was 5-1 as a starter,
Yep.
which
That
is
was a couple
crazy.
years ago, and Dak hurt his hand.
Yep.
And
Like,
we're all
he
like,
had
well, there
some
goes their
nice
season.
fucking games,
Like,
though.
he made the
Yeah.
playoffs. I think they may have won the division that year.
Yep. Well, now he's 5-2, but he looked okay. He looked okay. I think they can maintain. I think it's such a bad division. I don't think for them to make the playoffs is going to be really tough.
They're 3-6.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it is
yeah.
a shit
Yeah.
division. But
Yeah, but right. But I don't think that this is going to be the division to get 2 teams in the playoffs. So,
No, that's true. They just got to finish up.
I think
better
they
than
can.
the Eagles.
I think they can finish in a good place. But yeah.
I think they missed the playoffs again.
Oh yeah, probably.
Again, it's been a while, but
yeah.
So Maddie rattled off the stats. What do you think they had total yards of offense, rushing, receiving combined?
Oh, there was sacks involved, too.
220.
No, I'm saying less than 100.
It was more than 100,
Oh, okay.
but less than 200.
Okay.
Under
150?
150.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Probably worse for Dallas. Only 2 kick returns, never a punt return.
No.
How many pass attempts did Trey Lance have?
Trey Lance
Like
had
4.
4.
He now has 424 passes that he has thrown in competitive games since high school.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And you wonder why his development has been stagnant.
I
Yeah.
think Kirk Cousins has done that in 7 games.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he's still an enigma.
Well, yeah, I mean, he had to
Yeah,
set
we
up the
still
COVID
fucking
year.
know what he can
Yeah.
do, you know?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have no idea.
Jesus.
He's got all the athletic ability in the world. Look, for Dallas, not having Dak hurts. Rush, when you're going against a defensive coordinator that has been in the league as long as Phillies has, I know you didn't like him as your head coach, he is going to understand tendencies of quarterbacks that are younger and may not be as strong of athletes or whatever. The defense is still, even with those guys back, I know it was their first week back, but man, this was a rough game.
Yeah, that was like shit showing. Yep.
Against a team that I don't think is, and you know what? I guess I'm wrong, but I don't think Philadelphia is that good of a team.
They're like 7-2, but
Right.
like you look at the Vikings, no, the Vikings are a much better team than the Eagles are.
I mean, although right now I think the Vikings are going up and. Vikings are going down and Eagles are going up, in my opinion. So
to me, the Eagles are kind of like one of those teams in basketball that lives on the 3. And when they hit those big plays,
yeah.
they're dominant and they crush. But when they're off on those big plays,
yeah.
it's a problem. Like their big plays, I think, are what really feed that offense.
Yeah.
Saquon breaking long runs, AJ Brown with deep passes,
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts. That's the only thing that's not a big play, and that's the tush push, which is still almost unstoppable.
Yeah.
Brotherly shove, whatever you want to call it.
Well, Dallas stopped it once. Went for a touchdown, just for a conversion.
Yeah.
Still, they stopped it once.
So yeah, it's just it's that team is. They're not as good as their record, I don't think, but you can't deny they have won that many games out of the games they have been scheduled for. So good on them. Okay, sorry that took a little while.
Yeah.
We are now going to go on. Oh, there was something I wanted to mention because you guys had brought it up.
Uh-oh.
Oh, because of the end of the game. We were discussing the ends of all these games. The end of the Ravens-Bengals game was because they went for a 2-point conversion to try to win it. It's weird because hindsight being 2020, you can always be like, oh man, you should have kicked the extra point and gone to overtime. For the Ravens to get the ball and immediately score, like you haven't stopped Lamar Jackson the entire game. Like, it's very weird to me.
Yeah.
Because I could see either one of those calls being good because, Joe Burrow's great. Like, what if you got the ball first and Jamar Chase goes 80 yards for another bomb?
Yeah.
Like,
I love going for it.
I do too.
Go for the win, especially like against the Bengals. Your offense is what got you there. Trust your offense. Trust your offense.
Their defense just wasn't stopping anyone. It was Swiss cheese.
Yeah.
All right, my apologies.
No.
NFL.
Time for the NFL, right? Things happen outside of professional football, and we're here to talk about what I kind of think is interesting. I'm going to pour myself a little Journeyman Distillery. They're out of Michigan. Corset Whips and Whiskey. This is their 100% wheat whiskey. It's their cask strength, so it's like 115-ish, 117. I really love it. They're actually a really fantastic distillery outside of Kentucky. What they do is great. Journeyman, you are not a sponsor, but you could be.
I'd also like to thank Teeling Irish whiskey.
That's a great Irish whiskey.
I don't know if you guys can pay attention, but I am gonna get angry drunk tonight. I'm sorry,
All right.
disgusted drunk.
There we go.
There you go.
So, hey, obviously we got to talk about baseball in November, right?
The fuck?
The fuck? Yeah. The Savannah Banana All-Stars.
Oh, okay, we'll talk about them. Okay, yes.
Played the Clemson Tigers baseball team.
No, did they really?
They really did.
That's great.
And I like every bit of his, like, I actually didn't even look up who won. I was watching a bunch of clips of it. The Clemson Tigers were getting into it, and look, these guys are not playing ball right now. Yeah. They were out there like doing backflips. One of their players rode a horse onto the field, like they got right into the whole bananas phenomena. This is like baseball has been dipping for a while, but this is exactly the excitement that is fun with baseball that you can't do in a lot of other things.
Yeah, you can't. You really can't.
And what the Globetrotters did for basketball was so much fun, but it feels like we don't need that as much as we used to.
Well, that's because we let black people play in the major league now.
Come on.
That was the whole purpose of the Globetrotters.
But like what's going on with the Savannah Banana
it's
All-Stars?
fun as shit, yeah.
What they've created is this perfect thing. I love it. You know me in baseball. I'm always like, I don't know. I just fell out of love with it. It's so fun. I had to give that respect. All right, so we're gonna go to the NBA, and I need to point something out to you guys, and I would like you to make a guess. But for the first time ever, over this past week, it's now official. The first father and son duo have now recorded triple doubles in NBA history. Who could that be? They're not both active.
Yeah. It's not Bronny.
They're not both active. However, the person who just logged a triple-double is a junior.
Pippen? No, he's not a junior. Pippen's not a junior. Pippen's son is playing in the league, isn't he?
Pippen's son is playing in the league, yeah.
Is he
I would go with Pippen, but I don't think he's a junior.
You're correct.
Yes!
The father
Yes!
yeah.
Scottie Pippen Jr. just recorded a triple-double, which makes them the
Fucking
first father and
nice.
son duo to do it.
I love that it happened this fucking
And
season. Fuck
and
you,
here's
LeBron.
the
Yeah.
Ready?
Yes. Yes.
That's fantastic.
But,
Yes.
and by the way, Scottie Pippen Jr. is playing some good basketball. He actually in this game that had happened, he plays in the Grizzlies. So here we are, the Grizzlies, which are a fun team to watch. Ja Morant is coming back. He's got that swagger again. Oh, by the way, in this past week, he had a game where he did 2 360 layups.
I saw them. They were great.
Like what? And they didn't even look like they were a magical thing. It looked like it was planned. Like no big deal.
Yeah, do this all the
I'm just
time.
gonna do this. He's back. He didn't start this game, so Scottie Pippen Jr. got the start. He got 10 rebounds, 11 assists, 11 points.
That's a solid fucking game.
It's a solid fucking game,
Like 10 fucking rebounds.
right? And here's what's
Nice.
crazy about the Grizzlies. Again, this was
How
a
old is
game.
Pippen's son?
I'm not sure. He's only a couple years into his NBA career. So, and he was like a Vanderbilt.
Was he a second
Kid.
round pick or a first round pick?
He might have been a second round pick, but he's a Vanderbilt kid. But like he's playing
Did he
great.
get an $8 million contract?
Nah. I think Bronny only got 5, by the way. But whatever.
okay.
So
He was 24.
All right. That's good though. Some players develop later. By
He's
the way,
played-
Scottie Pippen famously developed later on. I
He's-
mean, he was nothing coming out of high school.
He's normally coming off the bench for the Grizzlies. But
Good for him.
But also on the bench for the Grizzlies, Zach Edey, who is currently
yeah.
leading in the
Fouls.
for Vegas odds for being Rookie of the Year. Zach Edey is playing like the big man we love. Like he's playing some great basketball.
Good.
Off the bench, he played 22 minutes in the game that Scottie Pippen Jr. got his triple-double. Zach Edey, 22 minutes, did 8 rebounds, 14 points. Nice.
That's solid.
Also,
Wow, that was easy.
not in the
Laporta
G
with a
League.
touchdown.
Not in the G League and not making the kind of money Bronny James Jr. is, but Yuki Kamamura, who's the 5'8", like, he played 5 minutes. He got 2 rebounds. He got an assist. He shot a 3. His first NBA actual game 3. You gotta love it. This kid is a fucking like assist machine. 5 minutes, he got 1 assist. I get it. But he's a lot of fun to watch. He's gonna be one of those fan favorites for as long as they keep him. He's so
Absolutely, yeah.
much fun. But Scottie Pippen Jr., first father son duo to do it.
That's
So.
fantastic. I'm glad I was
All
able
right.
to guess that. That's great.
But hey, if we're gonna
That's
talk
pretty good.
about triple doubles, we should probably also talk about
Ice Cube.
the perfect triple double. That's apparently never happened in NBA history, but it happened last week.
What's a perfect triple?
A perfect triple double is when you hit your triple double stats, but also make no errors at all. 11 rebounds, 13 assists, 17 points, shooting 6 for 6 field goals,
and no turnovers.
5 for 5 free throws, 0 turnovers, 0 fouls.
That is never okay. Fouls. Yeah, I can see how that's never happened. Who is this?
Someone who also had a father who played in the league, but apparently also never scored a triple double. European.
Oh, the center from Russia's kid. What the fuck was his name?
Domantas Sabonis.
Yes,
Yeah,
Arvidas Sabonis' kid.
Yeah. Fucking
His
sweet.
dad was a
Nice.
stud.
Yeah.
That very unfortunately because of Russia,
He
the
was.
ability to come play in the NBA.
He,
It's a shame he only got like 3 years because his first year the passes.
Armando Sabonis was probably the first European player that made everyone go, "Oh, these guys can be good,
Yeah, Arvidas Sabonis was amazing.
really good."
Yeah.
But apparently never got a triple double. However, Domantas Sabonis has got plenty over his. He's a. But the first perfect
guess
one.
they're both.
I know it's pretty good.
The first perfect one ever. That's just
awesome.
incredible.
That's
It's
a cool
incredible.
stat.
Hey, we're talking about fun stuff with basketball. Let's talk about trash. I don't know. Grayson Allen, the former Duke Blue Devil,
He's a piece of shit.
now a Phoenix Sun, who did a flying knee to Yasubale from Philadelphia. Okay, so what happened is Yasubale grabs the ball. Grayson's coming in for like a block, does the duck down, now I'm gonna do the stand up. But in midair, as he ducks down, Grayson Allen like is leading with one knee and then switches with another knee, which knees him right in the back of the head.
Oh.
He was given a flagrant one. Probably a little too light knowing his history, but still a piece of shit, Grayson Allen.
Yes, he is.
There you go.
Once a dookie, always a dookie.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. All right.
It works both ways because he is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Atlanta versus the Knicks. Now, this was Knicks visiting Atlanta. Knicks, their squad has come together. They're decent. They're 3-4. Atlanta, they're 4-5. Okay, whatever. Leading scorer for Atlanta was the number one pick that they got, Zach Reischer. Fucking up his name. I can't speak French. I'm sorry. He got 33 points. Fucking lit it up. He's been doing nice, but like fucking killer game for 33 points. Holy shit. But what I want to talk about is Trae Young. At the end of the game, again, they were in Atlanta.
He loves fucking with Knicks fans.
They were in Atlanta, and there was a ton of Knicks fans there. And after the game, after they won, he was on the mic encouraging them to find their way to the exit. Okay? Listen, when you're as balding as you are, fighting the hardest Rogaine fight of your life.
More than LeBron?
He's a lot younger.
He's a lot younger. Yeah.
Listen, maybe Atlanta fans should show up, and then there's no seats for Knicks fans.
Yep.
You ever think about that?
Yep.
Knicks fans are dedicated, right? And I'm sorry that they were there and they were loud, and they were cheering against you. It was a home game, and you're telling them to exit the arena.
Because you can't fill your own fucking stadium with your people.
Settle the fuck down, bud. Settle the fuck down. All right, let's go to some NCAA basketball. I always have a soft spot in my heart for those Big East teams. Syracuse being, Big East, but Creighton was there for a bit. I've just I still have this Homer feeling of
Creighton what?
Blue Jays.
There you go.
Ryan Kalkbrenner, who's a senior, had a monster night. Granted, they were playing University of Texas Rio Grande Valley Vaqueros.
I'll be honest, I lived in Texas. I didn't know that college existed.
Sure.
Probably didn't exist
But-
when we lived there.
May not
At
have.
7-1, he did put up 49 points on 20 of 22 shooting with 2 3-pointers.
Are those the ones you missed?
No, he made 2 3-pointers on his
okay.
20 for 22 shooting.
That's impressive.
Woo! That is a
Like,
nice.
even if you're playing a garbage team,
Nice.
to almost not miss.
Yeah.
Like, that's impressive.
Yeah. Okay. Now we have the number 8 seeded Baylor. This was their first game of the season, by the way. The preseason rank. Number 8 season Baylor going up against number 6 seeded Gonzaga. Gonzaga fucking dog walked them. 101-63.
Oof.
Bad. What also sucks is 5-star recruit for Baylor, VJ Edgecombe, who I think is going to turn into a stud. This was for his opening game. He did better in his second game. For his opening game, he did 7 rebounds, 4 points.
They were just cold feet.
Sure, but when you're down that much, I'm going to say this again. Matt's coming back in.
Okay.
So the 6 seed Gonzaga, 8 seed Baylor. Obviously, first game of the season, so they're all preseason numbers. Gonzaga 101 to Baylor 63.
Ooh.
Okay, but 5-star prospect VJ Edgecombe for Baylor didn't have a great game. But what he did have was the play of the game, because as they're getting dog walked, Coach Mark Few of Gonzaga puts his son in.
Oh. Okay.
And how did that go?
Well, I believe that Baylor decided the best way to deal with a blowout was just a nasty flying sack drag across the face of Mark Few's son, as Joe Few got his 5 minutes of game time and 15 minutes of shame. As he got dunked on so bad, dragged crotch across the face as VJ Edgecombe dunked over him. It was a blowout, but your son also blew him, so sorry, Mark Few.
That's great.
It's funny, though.
The last thing that I want to talk about with college basketball is Auburn and Houston. By the way, Houston preseason 4 seed, Auburn preseason 7 seed. Auburn won 74-69. It was a hell of a game. But what was interesting about that is that the flight from Auburn to Houston had the touchdown in between, which is not that far of a flight, because there was a fight amongst the Auburn players.
Oh, wow.
And the pilot recorded one of them is bleeding.
Wow.
So there's some strife going on in Auburn. And then I'm watching some clips, and there was someone who was like, they've yet to release who was fighting, whatever, but there's some clips of one player with an absolute hot hand, and one of their better players is like, here he is, like edge of the 3, standing there wide open as someone else shoots and makes it. Then another clip, standing there wide open as someone else shoots it and makes it. The same guy. Third one, someone else shoots it and makes it. Is he wide open? And he's having a fucking temper tantrum because he's wide open. And the person with a hot hand is shooting it. Auburn is fucking really talented and really scary. And pay attention to them. But if they don't get their locker room square...
And who won the game?
Auburn won over Houston.
Man, when you get into a fight after a win,
They got into a fight before the win. Before the win. In the air on the way to the game.
Oh, just ignoring him the whole game afterwards for but drilling the shots. You can't really argue that he shouldn't be taking it if he's drilling them.
I don't know that it happened to be the kid who was having a hissy fit. But let's be honest. When you're watching someone have a hissy fit as your player is shooting lights out, they got problems.
Yeah.
Anyways, college football. Colorado did beat Texas Tech.
They did.
To move to 7-2.
They did.
It was a good game, though. Yeah.
Texas Tech played better than I thought they would.
And
I didn't think we had a chance to win. I just hoped we would.
By the way, they won despite the fan interference that was taking place.
Oh, shut up about the tortillas. It's hilarious.
So yes, Texas Tech is throwing tortillas all over the field.
It is our thing.
Then a couple other things did get thrown out there.
Also, I went there.
Oh,
when I was there,
Matt?
I just want to say real fast, we do throw tortillas in the air after big plays. When I was there, none of us were trying to throw them on the field. It was just throw it in the air to celebrate a touchdown or a turnover or something. Later on, after I graduated, I went to a game, and those kids were like soaking down tortillas with beer, wadding them into balls, trying to throw them on the field. There has become an element there of some very bad sportsmanship fans. And I don't appreciate it. There's nothing I can do about it, because even if I lived in Lubbock, ain't shit I can do about it. It's a bad look. Travis Hunter, though, stuffing one down his pants was pretty funny.
All right. So, yes, he did. I will say this. So what I want to talk about was Deion getting on the mic after the game during the presser. And they asked him about it. And he was like, hey, I mean, like, tortillas are soft. Like, people are out there having fun, whatever. And he's like, I played football and baseball coming up, people throwing batteries, things like that. He's like, tortillas, hey, whatever. Listen, when water bottles and things like that get thrown out, that's when you got to stop. And people are excited. Deion Sanders was so
being
chill.
Being a voice of reason.
Yeah.
Oh my!
I like that.
It's just like I get it.
Him.
I get it. This happens. It's not that big of a deal.
Somebody wants to be an NFL coach.
maybe
for the New York Giants with his son at quarterback.
Yeah. All right.
What do you think about that, Scotty?
Yeah, maybe. So
not sure if he wants that.
So, all right, just two more things on college football. Miami, number 4 seed Miami, who's been playing good fucking football.
Rambling wreck, though.
Did just lose to Georgia Tech. 28-23. Now, I'm going to read some stats to you, and you tell me what seems wrong here. Or exactly what is right if you're Georgia Tech. Miami threw 348 yards in the air, 3 touchdowns. Had 88 yards on the ground. One guy did 81 of them, by the way. Georgia Tech, 2 different quarterbacks who threw 11 for 16 for 99 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yep. But if I remember correctly, they run a triple option.
271 yards on the ground.
The last time I checked, Georgia Tech ran a triple option. So that is so perfectly fitting if that's what they're still running. That's exactly what you want with that type of offense.
What they said was the best thing you need to do is you need to get the ball out of Miami's quarterback's hands. Now, granted, he did 350 yards in the air,
Shit.
but it still was like, we need to control this game,
Yep.
and they controlled the game,
Yep.
and it was just perfect coaching and the perfect team to do it, and you gotta love it. And it was fucking in conference, like
The other thing I love about it also, though, is
Oh,
that
yeah.
Miami, even with that loss, is still going to be in the run to make the college football playoff. Well, because of the expanded teams, we actually still get to see these teams that have these close games that might lose to someone,
Yeah.
and we'll still see them get a chance.
oh yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
love about the expanded
Yeah.
playoff.
Yeah.
I think the expanded, the fact it took so long to get to the expanded playoff
Oh,
is
yeah.
what bothers me more than anything
Yeah.
else.
So the last part of my NFL is still in college football, and it has to do with the Ohio State marching band.
Okay.
This was during their game against Purdue, which was a fucking blowout, but it
Yeah,
doesn't matter. Their marching band takes the field for their halftime show, and they're pretty incredible, right? They had this whole thing where the sequence was this bear out there, and they were doing like a Jungle Book kind of song to it.
Wow, lucky interception. Unlucky for the fucking Lions, though.
So like they were doing this Jungle Book song thing, and there's a big bear out there, and then the bear kind of reels back, and there's a flag that gets unfurled, this little Michigan flag, and then the ass of the bear, they unfurl this poop emoji that
like a Charmin bear?
that runs down and covers the Michigan. So they literally made a
The
bear.
Purdue one.
What this had nothing to do with Purdue. This is
They were
about
just shitting on Michigan.
they were shitting during a Purdue, game. They did a whole thing where a bear was shitting on the Michigan flag, and it was perfection.
I will chef's kiss that one.
It was chef's kiss. You gotta love that, and that's the pageantry of college football.
Oh, that's
so
fantastic.
That's
that
great.
was a long NFL.
No, that's
Thank you
great.
for indulging me. So yes.
Two things I want to touch on real fast. Number one, came out today that Trevor Lawrence may miss the rest of the season with his shoulder injury. I don't want to say that this ends Doug Peterson's time as the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars,
Sure might, though.
but I also am not sure it won't
Yep.
end his time as the Jacksonville Jaguars head coach just because of the sheer issue. In addition, before we get into everything else, I want to send out a get well soon, and we really want you back because even if you're not a fan of the San Antonio Spurs, Greg Popovich is one of the best coaches that has ever coached in the league.
He is the best coach in NBA history.
I-
Well, winning is coach. I gotta
Okay.
take that back. Not the best. Winning is
But,
coach.
I mean,
Yeah.
listen, Red Auerbach, Phil Jackson, Greg Popovich.
with these multi.
We're talking about
Yeah.
generational,
The cream of the
massive
crop,
head coaches.
yeah.
When I can put your name there, I don't think I really need to get into who's better. They're all so good.
yeah.
And especially Jackson and Popovich are interesting, and they come at it from kind of different ways. Like Jackson was always the Zen type of thing,
Yep.
which is weird because his offense trended towards letting these guys score huge amounts of points, which is not really what I would consider the Zen
The
thing
Zen
to do,
thing, yeah.
which would be more of what Popovich does, where it's the team.
Yep.
And Tim Duncan was the perfect centerpiece for him to do it with. Wembanyama is another one.
Yep.
So yeah, I really hope Greg Popovich get well soon.
Yeah.
I was really sad to see he had to step away from coaching because of health issues. Because the NBA is better with you in it. It just is. We're gonna now go into just the worst. Now for me, it doesn't really matter. It's a Big 12 game. It was between Utah and BYU. And the Utah Utes AD came out after the game. Now the coach was much more under control with his statements, but there was a holding call on a cornerback against Utah that took away what should have been a fourth down sack deep in BYU's territory to effectively end the game. Unfortunately, the cornerback got called for holding. It was a bit of a ticky-tack foul. I'm not going to lie. I've watched the replay. It's
I
not
watched
great
it
'cause
multiple times.
There's not enough camera angles to really see.
It
looks
letter-
ticky-tack.
Letter of the law. It is.
Yes. By letter of the law, I don't see how you can't call it. Was it ticky-tack? You can definitely make the argument, and I wouldn't be able to truly say that you're wrong.
It's also ticky tack because if you, not that it matters, but when you watch the totality of the play,
Yeah, it didn't even matter.
it would not have mattered
It
at
had
all.
no impact.
Right.
But after the game, the AD came out and said that the game was, and this is a direct quote, stolen, and he was, direct quote, disgusted by the professionalism of the refs. And another direct quote, we were excited about being in the Big 12, but tonight I am not. We won this game. Well, sir, I'm sorry. Again, I've watched the replay. Is it something I would have called if I was a ref?
No, your job is to call that. Yes.
You have to. It's
have
a
to.
penalty.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that your team then could not get a stop as the BYU team drove all the way down the fucking field to win the game.
Yeah. Well, get a field goal, but still.
But they
Drove
won the game.
all the way to a good field goal position, by the way.
Yes.
It was like a 35-yard
No,
field goal.
like it wasn't
It wasn't even like a 60-yard.
It was
50,
an easy little one.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, your defense fell apart after one bad call. Bad calls happen. And listen,
it wasn't a bad call.
no, you're right, because it was technically a foul. It was technically a penalty.
Yeah.
I just, we were happy to be in the Big 12, but this was stolen from us. Okay, Utah, I understand you had some good years back with, Urban Meyer, and you may have had some years in the Pac-12 where you did a little better. Slow your fucking roll.
Yeah.
Because the Pac-12 fell apart and you were all running and looking for some place to hide. The Big 12 offered you a spot. How about just accept the fact that some losses hurt more?
Oh, you almost beat a top 10 team?
Congratulations.
Right. You belong.
It's a hell of a game.
You belong in this division.
Yes.
Your conference. You belong in this conference.
Good job.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah.
But
right.
shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Although at the same time, I'd say the same thing about the Texas Tech AD, who didn't get fined like the Utah AD did. He got fined $40,000 for that. Texas Tech a couple weeks ago came out and requested that the Big 12 look into stealing of play calls. Because it turns out that the radio to radio from the coordinators to the helmet, so whoever's on the field getting the calls, is unencrypted and anyone can hear it.
Oh.
You just tap it on the right
Anyone.
channel. Yeah.
And there's no way to know. Which is really funny because after the Big 12 commissioner asked them to look into it, they immediately go, yeah, we looked into it. There's no sign of any wrongdoing. How would you know?
Yeah.
If it's unencrypted, anyone can listen to it. Or anyone with the
Yeah.
knowledge of how to do so, I should say.
Yeah.
I have no idea how to do so.
Sure,
but,
yeah.
But it's out there. It's available. If it's unencrypted, you don't even have to break in. It's just there.
That's called, like, I don't know, a ham radio that can pull up any frequency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry to these ADs. And yes, Texas Tech AD, I am an alum. But we gave up like 50 points a game. And I don't think it's because they were listening to our calls. At a certain point, it's because our team didn't fucking stop them. And so those are my two just the worst.
So mine is, and I actually missed it because Syracuse football played just yesterday.
We watched it.
Yeah.
Well, part of it. We're at the Yard House.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Where they actually did sell yards of beer. We did not. We tried their sampler of their
Fair.
own beers.
Yeah.
New York City, good looking out. Had fun.
It was a rough OT loss for Syracuse. Offense is good. Our defense is bad. I do believe Fran Brown from Georgia can turn the defense around, but that's going to take time. Anyways, this was Fran Brown's comment about the week before playing Virginia Tech. It was a win for us, but he was talking about the fact that during halftime, Georgia Tech's kicker went on the field and was trying to take practice kicks on the field goal, while Syracuse's marching band was on the field doing their
that's not
halftime
right.
show.
That's not right.
And his point was this. These kids also are in class and also practicing every day and also a part of how the football experience works.
And also,
Respect
most likely
that.
not on scholarship like you are.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless they're on an academic.
Also, like
Well, I
let's-
guess there could be a couple
And-
really
and-
good
There could be,
musicians,
yeah.
And
but
the reason
nowhere
that-
near the number.
The reason that I found that actually perfect, and I'm glad that it was a gap of a week that I learned this, is because I was talking about Ohio State and like their incredible choreography. Syracuse band doesn't do that same choreography.
Doesn't matter.
like,
That's part
those-
of the pageantry of the
Yeah,
college
yeah,
football
yeah.
experience.
Well, Ohio State, they're out there like doing this like
Doing
they're
bear
they're a
shit
bear that's standing up and then dropping a shit. It's wild. that college football pageantry at halftime is beautiful, and it's like we don't see that in any other sport in college, in any other sport in professional.
Yeah.
Like that is a college football thing. And you thought it was okay to go out there and interrupt someone's halftime show.
Yep.
Not cool.
Just the worst.
Yep.
Absolutely, just the worst.
And that's a coach thing, not the kid. I don't blame the kid.
No.
I blame coaching staff.
Coach should have told him, no, you got to wait. You
Yep.
gotta wait.
Yep.
Just the worst, Brian?
I'm gonna skip my just the worst.
Oh.
It's the Spurs.
Oh. Oh.
And without Pop, you know,
yeah.
I feel bad doing it. So bad.
They're below 500. They're a good team. They're a good team with a lot of growth ahead of them, whether it's this year or the next.
Yeah.
And with
They're a good
Wembanyama,
team,
like,
so.
you know, I mean, there might be Spurs fans out there who might be like, well, Wembanyama's not that good. David Robinson's rookie year, or I'm sorry, Tim Duncan's rookie year, we won a championship. Like, yeah, you had a
had David
great.
Robinson.
The reason you got that pick is because David Robinson got hurt,
Yeah.
No,
and then your team fell apart, and then you had both of them. Like
don't sleep on the Spurs.
Wembanyama,
Oh no.
their future is golden right now.
Pop is such an
just-
incredible coach.
So the Monday against the Clippers, they're up 40-14 into the first, and they lost.
Oof.
That's basketball, but yeah.
I got a question for y'all, real fast before we get into the picks, and we will get into the picks and we'll get going because I know this podcast is running a little long. DeAndre Hopkins having been traded, he's a 12-year vet, right? Let me ask you guys if this merits Hall of Fame consideration. Since he came into the league, no one has more receptions at wide receiver, 953, or yards, 12,643. Now, he's not been on great teams. He was drafted in
No.
2013. What do you think of Hopkins as a possible
I mean,
Hall of Fame?
if he's the best receiver of his generation, that's fucking insane.
with 81 touchdowns, which is not I mean, it's a really good career. I'm not saying he's had a bad career by saying that. Just by Hall of Fame standards, it may not be as high. I'm just curious, but that also goes to the team you're on.
I definitely would like to see him in the conversation. I think the problem is his lack of championships could hurt him.
Playoff appearances. He's
Play-
only
exa-
been in the playoffs
Yep.
a few times.
Yep.
Like a couple,
That's
really.
how usually play on shit teams.
Yeah, this year that's going to change. He might get
Right.
that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right. So, but like maybe this is exactly what he needs, just for that extra little credibility, a playoff
Ooh.
run.
That was a good
that
tackle.
was-
Oof.
Oof.
Well, Lions play hard, man. Jeez, even though they're down, they play
No,
hard.
I'd like to see him in the conversation. He deserves to get a nod. I worry that the people that are up against him are going to be greater than, and that he'll never get in.
He is one amazing Super Bowl catch away from the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
If he makes it the Soupy this year, and he has this amazing fucking grab,
or even
not even
some
like the game-winning one,
even some playoff ones too.
like something
yeah.
that's like fucking a memorable fucking
this
catch.
this season could be
That
the
can
one that
lock
locks
him
it for
in,
him.
yeah?
This definitely feels like the season that could lock it in for him.
It definitely
Yeah.
could be.
Yeah, with the Chiefs this year, I truly think it could. When I saw those stats, because like when I saw that he and Kelsey were each within range of hitting 1,000 catches for their career this season,
Yeah.
that kind of blew my mind. But I was also just so kind of fucking happy to see how well he's done. Like he has been a fun one. Just so you know, I just downloaded a coin flip app.
Okay.
Heads,
Oh, perfect.
His home team.
Oh, perfect.
Tails is away team
All
for
right.
Eric.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right, let's roll.
Let's
through
roll.
The picks.
Let's go.
Start out Thursday. The Commies go to Philly.
Wow.
Oh shit.
Wow.
Yep, that's a hell of a Thursday night game. Finally,
I'm taking the Commies. I think they're going to be a little upset after the Steelers game. I think the Eagles might be riding just a bit too high after beating the Cowboys and not paying as much attention as they should.
Oh, yeah. Listen, the team that should win in conference, in division, yeah, commies.
Yeah, me
Commies.
too. I
Commies.
don't see Jaden Daniels
Commies.
doing as poorly
Again,
as he did today.
who's-
Heads home, tails away.
It's too many flips.
That's too many flips.
Heads.
He's got the home team.
He's got home to going Eagles. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Next game.
JD will be happy.
Ravens visit Pittsburgh.
Wow.
What is happening?
I know these are some good.
Wait, this is a
fucking
1
matchups.
o'clock game on Sunday?
Yep.
Stop it.
I'm going to go with the Ravens. Again, their offense is playing so well.
Yeah,
I think their defense can do enough to slow down the Steelers' offense, which, oh my God.
No,
But TJ Watt,
no, okay. Listen.
and you know Tom was going to have them ready to play.
Yeah, all right. But you know who wasn't used at all?
Zay Flowers.
That's
And
true.
Derrick Henry last week.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, Ravens.
Ravens. Pittsburgh's defense is great. I don't think Pittsburgh can do the same thing against Baltimore's. Baltimore's defense has not been as good as I remember it being. In my mind, it's better, but I don't think it is. I don't think Pittsburgh can put up the numbers that Cincinnati put up.
No, exactly. I think the Ravens can score enough points to where the Steelers' offense can't keep up.
Yeah.
So I'm just making sure they didn't flex any of these games.
Go ahead and give Eric a flip while we're waiting.
They did not flex any of these games.
Eric picked the away team.
Oh.
So who did he pick?
He's going with the Ravens.
Okay.
All right. And Brian?
Ravens.
All right.
Browns at... Yeah.
I also have his streak when we get there.
Oh, shit. Squeak streaks. Yeah, we'll get that as soon as we're done.
Yeah.
Browns at New Orleans.
Oh, my God.
Give me Browns. Give me Browns. I'm sorry. Maybe New Orleans can pull out their magic, and it would be fun as hell if they pulled out that magic that they did today. But I think the Browns are a great defense squad. They have what they need on offense. Jameis Winston is a wild card, but there's enough there. And Nick Chubb didn't do anything last week, but one more game under his belt, knock some rust off. Give me Browns.
Eric's taking the home team.
I'm taking the Saints as well.
I'm going to go with the Browns also. I just think the defense with Myles Garrett and those guys can come through in the clutch there.
Like, they're kind of an unknown. Not so great 2 weeks ago. Bye week. Is that good for him or not? I don't know.
Yeah.
The Saints coming off, a good showing. It's like, oh, look, we kind of remembered how to play football.
Yeah. But also a change in head coach.
Yeah.
I think the Saints come back down to earth next year. Or next week.
Also maybe next year.
Yeah. Well, they will next year because they're still negative $60 million against the cap right now.
Yeah.
Sorry, $63 million. They did trade Marshawn Lattimore this past week to the Commies, which is a great pickup for the Commies.
For them,
Holy shit. Who's next?
Sorry, Maddie. Packers go to Chicago.
Packers.
Packers.
I have to. I don't have a choice there. Although Eric is picking the Bears.
Hey.
All right.
Eric, good on you, sir. I love the cut of your jib.
Jags go to Detroit.
Lions.
I already put Detroit across the board.
No.
We'll see.
Except for Eric's,
Eric is picking the visitor. He got tails. That's the visitor.
Go Jags.
Okay. Go Jags.
Raiders go to Miami.
Miami. The Raiders just fired their offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I have no idea what their offense is going to look like now. Is it going to be? Is it going to be fucking Gardner Minshew? Is it going to be fucking homeboy that was with the goddamn Falcons last year?
Mason. No, not Mason Rudolph. No.
Ritter.
No. They've got Aiden O'Connell back there.
Is he healthy? Because he didn't play in the last game.
Oh, okay. Oh, is it right? It was Desmond Ritter, wasn't it? Oh, yeah, it was. Oh,
I'm going to go with not the Raiders.
I really want to pick the Raiders.
Well, pick the Raiders then.
I'm not going to. I'm gonna pick Dolphins.
The Dolphins?
Dolphins.
Eric is going with the road team.
Yeah, Scotty, you said Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
Who'd Eric pick?
He picked the Raiders.
Wow, that's ballsy.
All right.
The Rams go to New England.
Rams.
Oh, that's Rams. Rams are. I don't care how spicy New England is kind of looking. The Rams are a better team and a much better coach team.
Matt, earmuffs. They look spicy because they played the fucking Bears.
Ah, nice.
No, I don't. I mean, like, relatively spicy for how they started. They're looking better than how they started. But
Eric picked the road team in this one as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Vikings go to Tennessee.
Vikings.
It's
a get right game for
dude,
them.
the Vikings need this so bad. They need
do.
it so bad.
They need their offense to produce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Eric's going with the home team.
He's going with the Titans. All
Yep.
right.
That's a weird pick, Eric. I don't know.
I don't know what's going on there.
I got to do it again.
Oh, hold on. We got a late producer. Put your pants back on, everyone.
Oh, man, we got to follow the rules now. Shit.
Falcons go to Denver. I'm sticking with my Broncos. After this close today, I
Brian,
can't
put me down for Broncos. Put me down for Broncos. No, because the Falcons have a lot of offensive talent, but things need to be just right for it to work. And Denver's defense is good and can fuck them up, get them reeling, and score just enough. Yeah.
Eric and I are
That's
both
my
going
hope.
with Atlanta.
Alrighty.
Okay. All right.
I'm going with Atlanta because I think that the Broncos might have a little bit of a hangover from losing the game that way, and that I think Atlanta is very angry after losing to the Saints.
Yeah.
So
I think
that's my
very
general
true.
thinking
Both
there.
of those, yeah.
So
Seahawks go to San Fran.
Eric is picking San Francisco, and I will as well.
Me too. Me too.
I will.
I think
also,
San Fran is start picking up and getting on a roll because I think they're gonna. I don't know exactly what their schedule is moving forward, but when they start playing all their in-conference games,
Yeah.
I think they're just the better team.
I mean, you give McCaffrey.
McCaffrey's
he's got a game under
back.
his belt now.
yeah,
Like,
and even
yeah.
if you have to give them some breaks, well, both of their backup running backs, Jordan Mason and the other guy, Garendo, they played great.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not great for fantasy, but so you have 3 running backs you can march out there and do well.
Yep.
Good luck, rest of you guys.
The Bengals go to Chargers. This could be a fucking good one.
Oh wow! I'm gonna pick the Bengals in this. I think the offense stays on a roll for them, and I think the Chargers. While I like them, I think they're feisty. I don't think they have quite enough on defense or on offense to keep up with the Bengals.
Like, can the Bengals do what they did this week again? Like right away.
I would like to go with the Chargers. I would like to think maybe the Bengals are riding a little too, even though it's coming off a loss. I don't know, like, it was a close loss, and maybe they're going to be upset about it, but, like, I don't think that feels like we got to go kill the next team. Like, I think they're sitting around going, what did we do wrong? What did we do wrong?
Eric's taking the home team.
That's the Chargers.
All right. Oh, wait, I got to pick on Eric's side? Shit.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, you're picking the Chargers?
Give me the Chargers. Sorry,
Yeah, I am not
I
going with the
thought
Chargers.
the way you were phrasing it, you're like, I want to. I thought you were going to say, but, okay.
I worry that the Bengals don't have it in them to be like, let's really like,
Let's come back from this.
Yeah.
Let's make something happen.
yeah. And their defense isn't great.
No, but
The Chargers
I'll tell you
can
what,
score
If
on
T. Higgins
them.
can come back healthy and Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow are on, man. And I'll tell you what, Chase Brown, unsung player
Yeah,
for them coming
yeah.
into the
We
season.
didn't even talk
He
about
has
it a lot.
played
Yeah.
great football.
Consistently.
You're right.
Yes.
You're right. Yep,
Like
you're
he
right.
may not always have a lot of rushing yards, but he is so much there in the third down game with the pass catching. Such a
Well,
good weapon for
You're
him.
making me regret my choice, and I'm not going to change it. But now I'm regretting it because
All right, so
you're
the
right.
next one, flip first, then I'll tell you what it is.
Bill something. Eric is taking the away team.
Oh, he's picking the Chiefs over the Bills.
Wow! Oh, it's weird because he would do that. I'm not. I'm going to say it's regular season and the Bills get the win.
Oh, okay.
It does feel that
And they
way.
knock off the undefeated team.
Oh, that'll feel so good.
I feel because they almost got their first loss to the fucking Broncos today, they're like, we're not going to fucking let this happen again. Like, they're going to lose to a worse team eventually, not a good team that should beat them, you know? Or could beat them, you know?
I hear you. I see you, Brian.
It's good to feel seen.
But for the narrative, give me the Bills beating the Chiefs.
Just so that playoff loss is so much worse.
Yep. You're exactly right.
They're on a high streak. They need to
Like the
lose.
Colts versus the Patriots back in the day.
Speaking of the Colts, Colts go to play the Jets.
Wow.
Wow. Fuck the Jets. Though,
Like, the
right?
Jets were
Like,
garbage.
They were so
but
bad today.
The Colts weren't good.
After today.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but give me the Jets. I think they can
It's
pull
just-
enough shit together to beat the Colts because I don't think the Colts' defense is that good.
The Jets
On the
are.
other hand, Eric's taking the road team.
You know what? I am too. I'm taking the fucking Colts.
I'm gonna take the Jets because I think their defense is what's
Better.
gonna win it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Flacco will do everything in his power to beat Aaron Rodgers once.
There you go. I like it. Next up is the Sunday night game, right? That
Yeah.
we will be recording during.
Yeah. Shit, really? Back to back? Yeah?
Oh,
no,
no,
oh, no,
Monday
no.
night.
Sorry, that was
Sorry,
the
Sunday
Sunday,
night is
yeah.
the Colts-Jets game.
Yeah.
Wow. Thanks, NFL. Thanks a lot.
I made it.
You motherfuckers.
What's the flex deadline?
God, I think it's a couple weeks from now. Monday night.
Texans at Cowboys.
Woo!
Fucking Texas
Dude,
matchup.
Texans.
Oh my God! And the Texans don't play well on the road, but the Cowboys have looked.
Shit.
I'm
me-
going with the Texans.
Look what they're doing to Detroit
Yeah, but
right
look at them in
now.
Detroit
you
right
know?
now. Give me Texans.
Eric's going with the away team.
Ah, it's the Texans. Damn it.
Wow.
Well, as of last week's total standings, Scotty's got 85 wins. Maddie has 84.
What a loser, Matt.
I'm
God.
at 80, and Eric's got 77.
Matt, you're such a loser.
But right now you're on pace to keep tying.
Yeah.
But you have some different picks for
Yeah.
not this game. We all picked Detroit for this game. But if the Dolphins win and the Rams lose on Monday, you guys could be tied.
Okay.
Great. Okay, that's the end of the show for this week.
Oh, real quick, I want to do.
Squeak
do
streak.
squeak
Oh,
streaks.
squeak streak, shit.
So
Sorry,
his
I
last streak
apologize.
was wrong. He said Daniel Jones will throw for a touchdown at home. He did not.
He didn't-
Well, he wasn't at home. He said it had to carry over a week.
Oh, he did. Well, he also said Joe Flacco will not play a primetime game the rest of the season.
He's playing a primetime game next week,
I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
isn't he?
We're saying he's not going to play.
Or so he's saying that Flacco won't start for the Colts
that's what
versus the
he's-
Jets.
That was part of his
Okay.
Oh
streak.
my God,
Yep.
I cannot
Yep.
wait for that to fucking end his fucking streak because he never looked at the schedule.
I know.
Yeah. So all right. So Eric
That
made.
is pure on point skunk hunter.
Oh, totally.
He also made another way
Oh
too
my
wild
God,
pick.
in perpetuity.
Okay.
Yeah. Caleb Williams will be the third Bears quarterback taken in the first round by the Bears, who will have 2 coaches in 2 years.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I've already called for it.
Yeah. Right.
So Bears head coach fired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. But he did say that for next week specifically, Will Levis will have an above 50% passer rating. Above 50% passer rating. That
No,
doesn't
above
work
50. Above 50. There's not 50%. It's either
Is he
above
saying
50
like
or
QBR?
below 50.
QBR 50?
QBR goes to 100.
Like, what's
Right.
he
Passer
trying
rating
to
goes
say?
to 158.3.
Right.
Yeah.
As I'm reading that,
Is he
as
saying passer rating 50?
passer rating
That's
50
a low
sucks.
fucking bar.
But he
Well,
said
maybe
50.
he's trying to finally get some of these streaks right.
50%. All right, I'm gonna listen. I'm calling the audible. 50% passing
Okay, just
for the
completion.
third
completion
week in a
percentage.
row
Okay.
with less than 150 yards completed against the Vikings.
Oh, wow.
With
Okay.
less than 100 yards?
150.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
All right.
And he also said, but also tell Matt the Bears are where quarterbacks go to die. So.
All right.
Oh.
Well, he can eat a dick. Because I remember when his Buffalo team ran through quarterbacks like no other.
Yeah.
So he can shut the fuck
Well,
up.
Whether good or bad for Scotty, the Giants have their bye week next week.
Oh, that's good for my
If you
koozie.
need the rest, you know.
All right. So this past weekend, the chair and I were lucky enough to enjoy David Gilmour in concert. If you don't know who that is, he was the lead guitar player and one of the singers for Pink Floyd. I would just like to say, David Gilmour thanked all of us for showing up last night. No, a big thank you, David, for touring again.
Yep.
It's his first tour in 8 years. It was all of 4 cities, 8 shows. Brian and I were discussing that last night before the concert started of how the fuck did we actually find tickets for this? We're kind of blown away once we fully realized how limited the amount of shows were.
Yeah, it was what? L.A., New York,
Rome, and
Rome
London.
and London. Yeah.
Wow.
Like, holy shit.
That's it.
you know?
And 2 of the shows, maybe 3 were in New York. No, 2. Because there was last night and tonight.
You might have had 4, but yeah.
Yeah.
Still fucking
yeah.
awesome.
Oh, absolutely unreal. Great show. But a couple little shout outs before we go. Jimmy's Corner, just off Times Square. The cheapest bar in New York. We were drinking $3 Yinglings. Now listen, if you're going to go drink there, pints.
Not 12-ounce bottles.
Pints.
Yeah.
If you're going to go there, understand what you're walking into. This is what I lovingly describe as a dive bar. And I love dive bars.
Fantastic.
It's a very, it's like an Irish pub in the most basic sense. And that Irish pubs, in my experience, used to always be a bar on one side, a wall with a shelf on the other, and a straight line and skinny as fuck.
That's it.
And that's it. They didn't serve food. It was cash only. It was a beautiful fucking thing, and I loved it.
The best part. So, all of this was fantastic. All the boxing paraphernalia on the walls, fantastic. Guy comes in to order a Jameson for himself and a White Claw for his girl. And he And bartender, who is maybe the owner, we didn't get to chat long enough, he said, we don't serve that shit here. Beer and liquor, that's it.
Nice.
Oh,
It's fucking fantastic.
to be like Midtown New York and say we don't have to serve everyone.
Yep, like right off of Times Square. It's
Yeah.
fucking fantastic.
Oh my
Yep.
god. Yeah.
Yeah, it was absolutely great. It was founded by Jimmy Glenn, ex-boxer who became a corner man and manager in boxing. Just so many pictures of different boxers around the
That's
entire
awesome.
place. It was
That's awesome.
absolutely fantastic.
Like one of the old bells from Madison Square Gardens for the boxing match.
Yep.
It's fucking cool.
That's
as
so
shit.
I also want to call out Martinez Handmade Cigars. Brian and I stopped there. We got a cigar piece. I brought Mr. Stats one that he had this evening during the show.
Great. It was great.
If you ever have a chance, if you enjoy a good cigar, go stay there. It is right on 29th Street, and if you need a hotel to stay at, we're at the DoubleTree Hilton, half a block down the road.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect. In addition, just in entirety, we were in New York City for 2 days. You hear a lot about how everyone's awful, it's rude, it's hell on earth. Not my experience at all on this trip. Everyone was so polite, so friendly, so welcoming. If you have a chance, go to New York City, check out concerts, go to the basketball games, go to the baseball games, go to the Modern Museum of Art. That's what we did one afternoon. Go out and enjoy yourselves. Find time to go do these things. It's what makes living here in the States so great, is being able to do that. Any last thoughts on football this weekend other than fuck our team suck?
Isn't that enough, Matt? I mean, I don't know.
I don't
Like,
think my team sucks. You know,
Kiss my ass, Brian.
No, yeah, you had a moral
I did.
victory for sure.
You know, we
being
have a
said-
producer that brought up something very important. As we're talking about a boxing bar, this Friday night, Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. Like,
Yeah, I'm
I want Mike
fucking
Tyson to
excited.
win, but
I'm
all
so
that means is he
excited.
beat up a YouTube guy.
I-
and if Jake Paul has the honor of either being the man who beat up a 60-year-old or the man who got his ass kicked by a 60-year-old. I don't know how there's a winner in this.
I
like
think we're the winners in all of this.
So
By
here's
not watching it.
no, I'm gonna fucking watch it.
so here's the thing. Like I don't under like Mike Tyson taking the match. I don't care. Good for you. You're getting money, man. Like,
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
You're
That's
getting
true.
money. He's like the past few years, more than a few years. He's gotten himself into some incredible shape. Incredible shape.
yeah.
He's one of the greatest of all times. He's a legend. But if you're Jake Paul and you're trying to like build this resume, which he has been trying to build this resume, and he's becoming a much better boxer. At the same time, like this is a no outside of your paycheck, which is going to be substantial, and I can't fault him for that. Outside of your paycheck, it's a no-win thing. If you win, everyone's like, yeah, so you beat 59-year-old Mike Tyson. If you lose,
You lost to 59-year-old Mike Tyson.
yeah, it's a no-win situation.
I will say for the boxers he's fought before, this is the best pure boxer. And Mike was never the most technical boxer. But if Jake Paul is not careful and he walks into one of those uppercuts, it's over.
Yeah.
Like,
They-
show is done.
They
Lights out.
they are allowing knockouts in this. So
Mike, are they wearing headgear?
no headgear, no headgear.
He better watch out for that uppercut. It'll be like back in the day when everyone said, Tommy Morrison, you should beat Foreman, but you better watch out for that fucking jab because he will knock you on your ass. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what happened. And
Hit him so hard he got AIDS.
yeah.
Machine Gun Tommy.
Wow.
Yeah.
We went there, folks.
But it's also like MMA is still wildly popular. Boxing is still not super popular. I grew up with boxing.
It is
Love
improving
it.
the popularity of boxing, and I appreciate
It's
that.
on Netflix, which like 80% of households have. There's 3 other title fights in this card, and then 3 other matches. Like, this is how you get people back into fucking boxing. I hate that it's a media thing with fucking Jake Paul, but fuck, that's a good way to do
But
it.
he's that is
He's
the one
gonna get
positive.
clicks,
Like
you know?
for him, it's a lose in terms of your record.
Yeah.
In terms of your reputation,
but
not
it's
record.
win-win in terms of popularity.
You're making
media,
money,
and
baby. You're
yeah.
making money.
Yep,
Hell
yep.
yeah.
Absolutely. I agree, 100%.
Looking forward to it.
All right, any last thoughts on anything
Yeah.
football-wise? or
Jesus
anything?
Christ, that's enough.
Hey, Greggy, Josh Allen, 2 interceptions, playing like Patrick Mahomes so far this season out there. What's going on with that?
Well, he doesn't talk
Jesus,
shit
sir.
like Eric does.
Excuse me, sir.
He doesn't want to talk to me. He thinks I'm a dickhead.
He's like, they
You're a
won.
fucking
That's all I
dickhead.
fucking care.
All right.
Did
The
we win
Texans
the game?
are wrecking shop on the Lions right now. The halftime just started. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of that game. If you are listening to us right now, tell your friends, tell your buddies. We're on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, Half the Distance Live. We also have a sister podcast, Straight Facts Homie, every week that comes out in the middle of the week. Please check that out. Also available on Spotify and podcast.
Yeah, Spotify is
Wow,
something totally different.
Spotify and Apple Podcast. If you are interested, tune in next Sunday, 8 o'clock. We film this podcast live. We live stream it on YouTube while we're doing it. We're there to have a conversation with you in our chat room. We'd love to hear from you. Give us a like, give us a follow, hit subscribe, anything you can. Help us out. Reach a little broader audience. We'd appreciate it. All the same.
Oh.
What's wrong?
Spotify successfully sued to make a business called Podify change their name.
Nice.
They're a weed delivery service. They can't be called Podify because Spotify won a lawsuit.
Oh.
Well,
Eh.
Gotcha.
well, listen, Powderfy, you keep that up. That's the crying one.
Sorry.
It says you can't order weed anymore.
So sad.
Actually, really funny. Last night we were waiting to get on the elevator, go down and get some food before we went to see the show, and this father, son, and daughter triple come out, and the daughter's like, "I just want to find some weed before the show," and I was like, "Have you looked around? Those stores are all around us at Times Square. My God, lady, open your eyes. Do an internet search.
Everywhere,
What the
yeah.
fuck?
Did you say
It's legal in New York State. Not that hard to find. Come on now."
It was kind of cool to see, like, her boyfriend, I think,
Wasn't her
pre-gaming
boyfriend?
with her dad.
Oh yeah, and her dad was thrown down way harder. He was really pumped. I guess he'd seen Pink Floyd before. It was hilarious.
I love it.
Love
All
it.
right, listen. Once again, New York City. Thank you for a wonderful time. The professor and I. We know you don't know us, but we had a great time.
Yeah.
And David Gilmour. I know he'll never hear this, but thank you. Holy shit, what a great show! And all the other musicians. They were fantastic. Bears. No thank you to you. Get your shit straight. For Half This Is Live, I am Matty Fax, joined by always by Scott Stanton, Brian the Professor, the chair, whatever you want to call him, and the great Scott Hunter is not here, but up Greg!
Greg.
Walked in to give us a little leadership before our show ended.
Finally.
Finally. We needed it.
2 hours later. Y'all have a wonderful evening. Thank you for listening to us. We'll see you next week. Enjoy the football.